Oh no.
Fingers crossed.
Are we live now?
Are we live now?
Should be live. It's live. It's live.
Are we not supposed to talk?
No, we're not live. No.
Yeah. Keep those off-color jokes to yourself.
Yeah.
You simmer down now.
Right. I didn't, because we had the problems with the thing. I just haven't had time to check audio levels. So if I hate doing this. I normally like to do this beforehand, but we just had it's literally been a mad rush to get this to a. Every time I think you think you're ready. You probably think you're ready, and then all of a sudden it never works. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've got it. Streamers. It's all done. Everything's ready, and then you're about to go live, and then my computer literally decided that it was going to give up before we went live. And so I rebooted it, and it works great.
Yeah, that's welcome to my life. I always love it. On all the comments on my YouTube videos are always like, "Your levels suck." It's like, thanks. Yeah. Thanks.
What I find even more funny is you ask people that during the stream, and like people will sit there and watch the whole thing, and then at the end say, "Well, the audio was a bit crap." It's like
who asked you? I can't tell. It's hard to tell at our end. I know, because it doesn't always did.
Yeah,
it's a number of times.
2 hours through, and then someone just says, "Oh, he's a bit loud."
Yeah. Have you not? I do that every time I go into people's streams. I make a conscious effort because I know how annoying it is. Like it's not going to offend the person. They want to know how to make their stream better. So I always make an effort to tell somebody if they say to them, "Oh, the guest is overpowering you audioly," or he's more audio, or if like I can barely hear something, or the game music is too loud, I'll just say, "Hey, look, just," and then and I'll read it, and then I'll go uptime. They'll be streaming for like an hour and a half. Like I'm like, why has no one told this person? Do you know what I mean?
I know the first day I was streaming, and I got someone who actually said to me my audio was a little bad. Like it was amazing. I'm like, oh my god, somebody actually cares enough.
I know, right? It's like the number of times I go into like the streamers, because I'm always looking for new streamers, people who are coming on to promote and just to see if they're if they're good, and we've all been there. We've all started off at the bottom. If they're worthy, are you worthy? Well, you know what I mean.
Madness, you just know he is judging.
Madness is like gatekeeping for the Star Citizen community.
Oh shit!
Is the royals of the
we're live
of Star Citizen.
Yeah, Madness. We're
such
live.
A fail. Such a fail.
Oh, by the way,
he's been off for 2 weeks. It's all gone wrong.
Shredding in the stream chat. We actually watched his YouTube video on the Razor.
I saw it on Panda. I saw an Oxford stream. He put it in there. It's actually really good. He actually proves that the LX is the LX or the LX.
The LX.
The EX, I think, is the stealth one. The LX is the dragster.
The dragster is actually worse as a dragster than the base model. Like the LX is
for now
not worth the money at all right now.
Yeah,
that's not surprising.
He basically put all this through. He's like, "Yep, it's garbage. Don't buy it." He put a big disclaimer about how this could change in the near future, and I'm like, "Yes, I like the style." But right after you just basically said it's CIG selling you a lemon for a racer.
Well, what do people expect? Like this is okay. We're just diving straight into the racer, which is kind of like we're going straight in.
Right.
Like I was like, we've got other things to.
They all know who we are. Let's move on. Yeah.
Actually, Paul, did you get a copy of the? Do you need a copy of the doc?
I don't even have the doc open.
We're going to go off piste today. We're just going to
go off the fucking rails,
ignore
off the track.
The document. Yeah.
They will, but I'll bring them back again.
My wife has been diving back into the BBC, and she found the Windsors TV show.
The Windsors.
I don't know if you've seen it. It's a parody of the Royals.
Yes.
The parody series. Yeah.
Yes, I have seen it actually. No,
and I'm just sitting there going, these people haven't been crucified. Like how bad they treat them. It's like, damn, son. So I've been on that whole like, you've been judged. So when Madness was like, I'm checking to see if they're worth it. I'm like, all right there, Charles, calm down a little bit.
I think he's judged himself and fucked off.
That was it. I was like, that was it. I'm not good enough. No, I've left my own show. That's
like
it.
It's over. These are too rowdy.
It's already. I can't watch that stuff, Paul. To be honest, I mean, it's just like my missus loves Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice. That's the only reason why we watch it.
Has she seen the original Pride and Prejudice, the one with Colin Firth? They did Pride and Prejudice, British production.
Yes.
Yeah, that my missus loves that, and like I watched it a few times, but by the 6th, 7th viewing, it starts to get a little bit tiresome.
Well, my wife absolutely hates Jane Austen, so she can't stand it. She sees it, but then she screams at it, like she throws things at the TV when she watches stuff like that.
God, yeah, no. But anyway, we're back to the Razor. But immediately, that's the point. Like when I saw the Razor, my comment on the Razor, which we'll go through Razor stuff in a minute, but my point on the Razor was, we've got a race model and now we've got a super race model, and I was kind of like, why?
Yeah, and we actually talked about this on my stream. Is this like when CIG sells a ship, they sell it like a car salesman or like a car manufacturer. They hype it up like they would in lore. But if you're just some schmuck coming off the street, like, oh, Star Citizen, that sounds cool. I want to get a race car in Star Citizen. This one is the fastest. Click, and then you go watch these videos. It's like, no, it's not.
But then
why
a stealth? Like, we're gonna race secretly.
Oh no, it's not just a stealth variant. It's a stealth variant that has shotguns attached to it.
No, hang on. I like the stealth version. I like the stealth version. It's not.
We're gonna do underground racing, so you can't see us race on the planet. So you can't. We don't know if you finished the race yet because you're actually stealth and we can't see you. But I'm sure you're winning.
I'm really fast.
Or just a track of everybody's stealth.
You have to take us word for it. It's so stealthy. I
swear
to God, I finished first. Well, sure, man.
All right,
50 people in this race. No, honestly, there's 50 people. No, whatever.
Can't see them all. Can't see any of them.
Well, if you want to avoid the police in your illegal drag races, you're going to need stealth.
Well, do you know what somebody pointed out, which was brilliant on Reddit? They were like, what is the point of this stealth version of my vehicle when everything's powered off, the lights are still blinking?
Still flashing. Yeah.
Like the lights, everything was all on. You can still see it, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of I think you're misinterpreting what stealth actually means. It just means it's lowering your emissions for if someone looks out the window, they're still going to be able to see you. It's just that if they're looking at the tiny HUD in the corner, they won't be able to see you, which no one kind of does. But never mind, it's like that's kind of irrelevant. But I like the stealth one. I think if you've got to understand, is like, in Italy, they do this. In Dubai, they do this. They take a supercar and they make it a police vehicle. And if you actually read into it, this vehicle effectively was meant to be given to the advocacy, which are kind of the equivalent of the super police, stealth dude, whatever you want to SWAT. They're like the idea of the SWAT. They're like the SWAT.
He's not wrong. They are the super police.
That's what they effectively are. So
they're like the Lone Ranger mixed with the specters from Mass Effect. It's basically like they're Judge Dredd. They're all just Judge Dredd. They have the ability to like kill anyone they want to, or like. And I'm the lore guy, so I've done a lot of it. I'm really interested in the advocacy because basically, if you see not security, not like a security company, not like Crusader Security, if you see an advocacy ship, you're already dead. Like they're not going to capture you; they're just going to blow you up, and then they're going to take your corpse and they're going to throw it to the sun because they don't give a fuck. And they're supposed to be, they're super cops. They're like that like a kung fu, or was it Hong Kong kung fu action films, super cops films?
No, it was a super cop. Jackie Chan. That was actually a legit movie, Super Cop.
It was, it was Super Cop. But I mean, there's an entire genre of that kind of stuff with like Jerry and Jackie Chan, before they used to move to the US, where they're just like killing everyone like through the slums of Hong Kong. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much what these guys are. They'll just kill 50 people and then say it was justice.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Paul, with the first one, Judge Dredd. Like, just imagine the judges. Yeah. If you've ever read the comics, that's pretty much what these guys are, which I think is the best way to look at them. That's what they are. They're kind of judge, jury, and executioner all wrapped up in one type of package, which I like.
Those shotguns, they're not designed to be used against other spaceships.
No, they're designed
for crowd control.
Crowd control. You see the stealth variant fly up, aim down at a protest, open fire, disperse.
So you've got to
disperse.
That's why it's stealth, so you don't see it. They don't even bother with the disperse. It just literally just comes in and starts shooting.
Okay, crash.
Do
you know what? Hang on though. Hang on. But the Americans have got it all wrong with like the kind of in Britain basically our kind of crowd control usually involves like horses. Now I don't know if you've ever seen a horse with a fully mounted person on top of the horse, that's a really intimidating sight. If you're standing on the ground and you got like a full horse and then armor and then another dude on top of that with body armor and all the rest of it. I like in the UK, obviously. I mean, America, it'd be just like, fuck it, never mind. In the UK, it's kind of a little bit different, but it's kind of that's intimidating. That's crowd control.
We don't bother with a horse in America. We just bring out the tanks. Literally, we just bring out the military vehicles that are designed to handle mines and then run them into crowds. That's with shouting shouting sonic weapons that make people's ears bleed. While shouting, "This is an illegal assembly. Please disperse."
We use water cannons. You just literally use cannons.
And then shooting rubber bullets at people and hitting them with chemical weapons. Just kind of how we roll.
Oh my god, I love it.
That's just for a mother's PTA meeting.
That's how we break up. That's how we break up bake sales.
Bake sales. That's like
There's illegal bake sales.
Crazy
stuff. It's legal to be baked and sell. But
it's illegal to be baked here. That's for sure. So I'm going to just rewind it and just do a very quick introduction. So if anyone is new, welcome to the Asylum. This is a weekly podcast. This is my only chance actually at the moment to stream. So it's really nice to be here for the Monday night. We have obviously Miserable G. We've got HC, who's now a part of Asylum. Yay! For as long until somebody like Space Bros tries to steal him. And then we've got the AstroPub. Until they deem him worthy as well. I'm sure they already have. I deem him worthy. He's already worthy for sure. And we have
this is seal of approval.
We have the awesome
Madness has judged you worthy. You may live another day.
I need a certificate, don't I? A pretend little stamp, like, and kind of I can say to people, "Here you go, put this on your on the screen in the corner. Madness satisfies."
Just the word with your grin on it.
Make one. If you don't make one, I'm going to make one. It's going to look awful.
All right, I'll make it really good though. Little stamp in the corner. So and we have
diaper wrapped around it or something.
Our guest this evening, fantastic as always. When he can come, it's brilliant to have the AstroPub on because he's difficult for him to come on. So it's to do with your time zone, timelines, because you've got things to do. So now and again, you get. I'm
usually like at this time period. I'm usually the last bit of my work schedule.
Yeah.
And today is my last day. My last free day before the end of the year. So I'll actually be able to come on during the summer, but. Whenever I can come on Mondays, I always like to come onto the Asylum podcast. It's always fun. Just because I always like to see Madness judge me. And
at the end of the podcast, he's like, "Was I worthy? Was I
worthy?
Hang on. I have to do the quote from the movie. William, I have weighed you. I have measured you, and I have found you wanting, or whatever it was from the Heath Ledger movie.
Knight's Tale,
I love that film. That was a great film. It was cheesy as hell, but it was brilliant fun. I almost named my kid William. Actually, I was thinking about calling him William as well. But anyway, then my missus says, "Yeah, but we call Willie at school Willie." I was like,
"Just call him Wills."
You know? Wills. Yeah. Maybe. It's Max now. It's Max is his name. So just like this week. So it's actually Maximus. And so, like I said before, when he gets,
I coached someone the other day called Maximilian.
Oh,
an archery, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's different."
My wife and I want to have.
They look like a girl, and then we thought it was a girl, and then it was a boy, and it's like, "Oh my god, this is getting confusing."
Oh, because Max is a dual gendered name. It can be either. My wife and I just decided that if we have two boys, one of our sons is going to be named Octavian.
Oh, nice.
Octavian.
Octane. Not Octane.
Octavian.
Octane. And Intel and Octane.
Intel Octane, yes.
And if he has another one, it'd be Ryzen.
sponsored. AstroPub sold out his kids' names.
Yeah, they don't call me Paul Shilly for nothing.
He's got a brand new. He's got a brand new I-19 or whatever it is, or whatever.
Yeah.
He's got that. And I just happened to name my kids after it. Never mind. So Octavius. So what was the other one? Sorry.
Octavius Gustav Shelley.
Gustav Shelley. Wow.
That way he has the option to either use shortened like Augie or Gus, and using the middle name for as Gus. But it's because my wife is Gustav is a family name, because like half my family is German, and Octavian is the name of Augustus before he became Augustus Caesar, and my wife is a huge like Latin scholar, so. And it's also one of those names you don't hear anymore. Octavian, you know. Yeah,
it's the same. That's why I chose Maximus as well. I kind of like the old school kind of. It means the greatest. So I was like, it's kind of. He came. My son came on the 20th. He came bang on his delivery date. He came. Yeah, I know, right? He came exactly on the date that he was, predicted, May the 20th. And I was like. And he came in 2 hours. I was like, yeah, the name Maximus, it has to be the Maximus. It's perfect. It's perfect. And he's also critical roll 20, which is just like even better. So it's just fantastic. It's fantastic. So
we made him hold out. We thought he was going to come early. He said, no, you've got to wait for the 20th.
There's also my wife just finished. Part of the reason why this kind of has come up in my discussion with my family is that my wife recently read a book about how names we give kids often determine their life in many ways.
Yeah.
Like,
very
the amount of people who are named Justice or Liberty or that kind of stuff often end up being in the
it's weird, but
the careers often like in like lawyers or cops and stuff like that. Or they just happens to be like where their names go and how you spell it and everything. So like you've named your son Maximus. He's now going to be the next prime minister. That's just how it's going to happen,
Could be.
I hope not. Not if it's anything like madness.
No offense, I hope not. Not allowed in. Unworthy. Then move on. Unworthy.
Just going to judge everyone.
No mingers policy at the front entrance.
Borders down. Unworthy.
Oh god. So okay. So has anyone been playing Star Citizen this week? I know HCVertigo has been playing, but has anyone else? Have any of you guys actually been in? You have been. You have been. Yeah, nice one. Astro's been playing, and Miz, have you played it at all this week? Legitimately? No. I played it once, but I got an excuse. I have a baby, but I've played The Witcher. If I'm being honest, I got into all the expansion packs, and I was like, I have to play this. It's amazing. So
yeah, I don't blame you. Honestly, I tell people come in and ask me, hey, I got 40. In fact, we had just the other day, we had someone come in and stream said, hey, I have $45. Should I get Star Citizen or should I get Grand Theft Auto 5? And I'm like, Grand Theft Auto 5.
If you haven't got it, get it.
Get it.
This patch is really fucking bad. It's really
not
fucking
as bad
bad.
as 3.0. It's not as bad as 3.0.
No, but it's damn close. Like
they broke combat.
They broke everything. Like the FPS is bad. The spiking. There's lots of spikes that come back. It's not as bad as it used to be. There's not as many disconnects. But like the only thing that's decent is you no longer have bajillion and one traders breaking the economy by making 1 million AUEC in like one run.
Actually, my favorite pastime now is going to Jumptown and killing everybody.
Yeah, Jumptown's fun. It's the new Korea.
And people complain about it, and I'm like, hey man, you're the one who chose to do some space trucking through Somalia. Like next time, bring some muscle. Next time, bring some muscle.
Don't complain. If you come to Jumptown, you come to play. Like at some point, I want to actually like bring a group of like regulators and just like or like a gang, get
bouncers. Just set the line. Like you either pay or you get out.
Yeah, you pay your combat fee. Like give me at least 1,000 UEC.
Yeah.
Pay the toll. You pay me 1,000 UEC because you can do that now.
It's complicated,
and you
but
can
you
get access. Yeah, you get access. If you don't,
it's not
new.
Shoot
you in the head and dump your body.
It's not you. Like we used to when I was up in Smoke, we used to do that outside Korea. We used to just literally bar it off, and we'd say, "This is our space now. You come into Korea to get your security done. you have to talk to us or communicate to us or say, you know, pretty, please. You know, it's like, you know, it was quite literally, it was ours because, you know, they'd come, you'd swarm in and you'd be dead in seconds because it'd be like 7, 8 of us.
What makes me laugh even more now, though, is we've got so many planets, not planets, like moons and space and outposts and things you can go to, but there's always, doesn't matter where you have an FPS fight, there's always going to be some fucker go, this ain't fair, I come here to trade and what all this shit. It's like, don't
hot truck it. Don't hot truck it through the center of fucking.
I wanted to pick up these illegal drugs and you're shooting me. It's really not fair.
Don't try to hot truck it through fucking Cartel Town. You know,
I mean, if they're like this in like an alpha,
listen, man, I'm just driving my Ford F-150 my dad bought me down to Colombia. I'm just trying to go to Medellin and buy some cocaine, bro, and just come back and have a good time. All these dudes with machine guns are trying to kill me.
Do you know what, Paul? If you spoke like that, I would probably let you come through and be like, that dude sounds cool. I want to go party with him. I'd be like, I want to party with that guy. Let's do it. Let's make that happen.
I still get people that beg me to let them into Karaya while I'm shooting them. Like, no, I didn't earn this crime stat. Honest, I just want to, like, you gotta earn it, man. You gotta earn the console. Like, this is like the PvP zone in Jump Town. Like, it's guaranteed.
Yeah. No, it's just again, it's
come heavy.
Just
or don't
honestly,
come at all.
it's just you just wipe the special snowflakes off the front of your off the screen, and then you're fine, and then everything feels good. It's all good.
I got snowflakes hitting me in the face.
It's just literally
the debris.
It's just like
snowflakes.
It's just everywhere. Do you know what was brilliant though? I have this video of HC, which I found on Reddit, by the way. It's gone viral, Mister. I kill a saber. I kill a saber. Yeah,
the fucking saber, no.
I got it.
The best part about that.
Right, tee it up first. Video? Yeah, I got the video. It's all keyed up, ready to go. It's the video. I got the video, man. I got the clip. So, okay, so we'll show the video, and then you can tell us exactly what kind of happened. There'll be a bit of a delay, I think. No, you'll be able to see it on the screen. If you look in the corner, you should see it live.
Yeah.
So you should see it live. So I'll pop it over. Here we go, guys. This was HC's action from today. This is pretty sweet. Oh, was it today, or when did it?
Yesterday, last night.
Okay, wait for it to pop over. Here we go. Oh, has it not done it? Has it not done it? What's it giving me?
By the way, folks, if you have any questions, !question in chat. Go and fill out the form. Ask us any questions you would like. We won't answer them, but you can ask them.
It's giving me the wrong window. Sorry, guys. 2 seconds.
Madness will judge them worthy, first of all.
Hey, if you ask us questions for like official CIG responses, we will respond as if we're CIG employees.
We'll definitely respond.
But it's your fault.
I think that's like it. That's SC podcast rules now, isn't it?
I have thus deemed it the rules. We are all experts, since we're all. Every one of us has been told the shit.
We'll come back to it.
So why not? We'll just roll with it, you know.
I've got to add another video. We'll come back. Sorry, HC. We'll come back to it. I need to quickly set up.
Hey, crew.
What's up, man? What's up, crew? Sorry, I got to. For some reason, it's giving me my desktop rather than the
actual video.
Yeah. I need to add the source. It needs to be the Elgato screen capture. 2 seconds. Carry on. Talk amongst yourselves about whatever you want to talk about.
Let's make it awkward. Let's make it.
Thanks.
Did you guys see the latest drama that the non-Star Citizen people have finally discovered about the
$27,000
package, which is gated behind $1,000. You have to have spent $1,000 to even see the goddess pack.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes.
That's actually not new. That gating, that's not nothing new.
No.
When I go show to people the pledge store and I talk to new viewers about pledge stores and whatnot,
they can only see certain things. Yeah.
They can only see certain things. So when I scroll down, I show them like, hey, here's they'll take your money, right? Here's the very bottom, the $6,000 plus packs, and they're like, I don't see that on my page. Well, you got to spend a little money before it shows up.
Yeah, which is something that the community has been asking for a long time.
That is something we've asked for a while.
Because
especially for the starter packages, it's like, you
come into the game, you come into this, oh, what's the Star Citizen game? You look it up, and the first thing you see, it's like starter pack, $1,500. It's like, what bullshit? This game's pay to win. It's a $1,500 pack. And
the funny thing is, like we've always said, it's like, well, you can look at them and if you actually read it, you know what's involved and everything. But then the amount of games now, it's becoming quite a common thing, because I've looked at a few Kickstarters and stuff for MMOs and stuff that's coming out, and you look on there, and I can't remember which one was linked recently, but
probably Shroud of the Avatar,
something of Ashes or something. But anyway, they had packages, and it's going to be a sub game, and the cheapest package was something like $75, and then it went up to 150, then 250. You're like, what the fuck? But then that's it. Like, my instant reaction was the same thing. It's like, well, what the fuck is a $250? And then you're like, well, yeah, I suppose I shouldn't just judge like that. But that is what you do. It's as soon as you see it, it's like, well, what the fuck are you charging this for? Obviously, I didn't just go anywhere near the game because of that, but that is your kind of instant reaction when you see it.
You got us ready there?
Did we cover enough?
Yeah,
we can come back to that one. We can come back to that. Thank you for the coverage. But yeah, okay. So this is hopefully the sound should work. I hope it will actually.
I hope this works.
Well, you can just talk through us. You talk through us what happened because you don't need the sound. You can see what happened. So this is a Saber, dude. What happened?
Yep.
And what vehicle are you flying in at the moment?
Fucking Aurora, default Aurora MR. Here's the thing.
Wow.
Here's the thing. I don't even own an Aurora MR.
Was that a player or was that a?
Yeah,
that was a player.
I actually sent him. I actually looked up the player on Spectrum today, and I sent him that clip. So here's the
you
thing.
teabagged him.
You're so
in
bad.
Real world.
That I need to show you again how bad of a pilot you are. That's some huevos, man.
Whoa.
That's some huevos.
Trust me. The only
way to rub it in. Way to rub the shit in his face over and over again.
And we're gonna
go clap. Go clap.
By the way, thousands of people have watched you be bad. Get good, son. Get good. I'm sorry if you're watching this again.
Your face. Look at your face.
This game.
What's that? And then we'll send that to him as well.
To be fair though, there are some people who are really good at Auroras. Like one of the people who works for CIG now.
Madness, what are you doing?
This needs to be an emote. Every time you get like this ridiculous kill, this needs to be an emote.
I will make that an emote on my channel. If somebody sends it to me.
That is an emote right there.
That will be an emote.
Dude, because that face is the face of joy.
Can I tell you how this day went?
Victory.
Okay. Tell us what happened.
Let me tell you this. Okay, I gave away my Aurora MR that I had. Someone actually claimed that recently, so I don't even own an Aurora MR. I was like, somebody came into the stream and said, Vertigo, show me some stuff. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to go steal an Aurora MR from Olisar. And there's this glitch I got, right? You go prone underneath the front landing gear. You emote like point/point. You stand up, you jump, emote, you're inside the Aurora. Stole that son of a bitch. Now you can't get out once you're in. It's a prison. So the only thing you can do is ram people or kill sabers. And so I jumped to Cryastro. Yeah, kill sabers. So you jump to Cryastro, and I'm like, I got balls. The saber going down. And half the fight was me versus the saber. His landing gear was down the entire half the time. So I'm clubbing seals, okay? Okay.
How are you clubbing seals? You're punching so far above your weight class. This would be like taking down a tank.
This is not a seal. It's literally.
Well, it's more like a seal pup taking down a seal.
This is like a seal pup blowing up the HMS Victory. You know, like
rocket launcher. A little seal with a rocket launcher.
I mean, the thing is, I'm sure you did this purposely because Madness has been telling people for a while now that comes on his stream, you cannot play this game with just an Aurora. This game is not playable with an Aurora. That's not a starter package. So that just proves him wrong. It's like
if you can, if the other pilot's missing half their brain, okay, it's possible.
I will say, like I said, he works for CIG now, but Bayer used to make his career in terms of streaming Star Citizen by using really shitty ships and beating people with them. Like back before they fixed the Cutlass, before they even the Cutlass was doing this thing all the time.
God, that thing was
and
awful.
it handled like a greased up pig on ice. He was beating Super Hornets in Cutlasses. He was beating people in Auroras. Like he was an Aurora. Like you just stay away from him. So it does prove that, like, hey, sometimes it is definitely about pilot skill. Sometimes people are they have more money than sense.
I know. I say that on my stream too. Like somebody comes at me in Star Marine with heavy armor, R97, they're jumping all over the place, and I just gunned them down. And I'm like, just because you have a shotgun doesn't mean you're good. Just because you have a saber doesn't mean you're good.
Do you know what?
You got to get good first.
All right, okay. Like, I watched it and I was laughing at you, and I thought the thing was hilarious. And the guy was just—I can't believe I mean, I can believe it because it does happen. But I was like, holy shit! But what was interesting is if you watch the video again, I watched the last little bit here. You watch your. This is what we talk about the IFCS and how shit it is. You watch your little Aurora. I swear to God, I swear you could literally close your eyes and guess when you're going to fire. It's like, yep, now I've hit him. Now I've hit him. It was just, I watched you.
That's probably how he beat him, though, wasn't he?
I was like,
he wasn't aiming. Your Aurora
your
was
pip is
so
so far to the left. It's insane.
So it's basically it's aim techniques I picked up playing other FPSs and using timing and just basically learning how far away I need to pull the trigger based on like, here's my crosshair here and here's my target.
Yeah.
I basically fire right here and then my target's in my, basically it's fucking leg aim techniques from Quake. That is what I'm applying. Before they had the interpolation, extrapolation in network code, you had to fire where the server said the person was, not where where they were on their screen, not where they were on your screen to actually hit them. It was obnoxious, but those are the skills I was applying because ESP just doesn't work. It's just, you just kind of have to eyeball that shit. It's like, close enough.
So that made my day today when I was doing my research for this evening's program. I watched that. That was like literally, I was like, scroll down and I saw it, and then I saw you, and I was thinking, I was thinking, please let the Aurora kill HC. Please let it be the other way around. And then it wasn't, and I was like, a little bit was damned, but I was like, damn. But then I saw it, and I was like, no, good man. Because it is very important to tell people. People think that, they must have the best ship to do. No, you really, really can be an excellent pilot in a really bog standard ship and still do okay.
A low tier ship. You can take out a high tier ship and a low tier ship.
It does happen.
They're going to work on that. Right now, the shields are like, if I go up against a Vanguard, the Vanguard can just sit there and just laugh at me, just fly backwards, and I just eat my face off because of the way the shields recharge on the Vanguard. It's just a hopeless scenario there.
The difference is that you can beat a Vanguard pilot who's a dumbass.
Yeah.
Because I have blown up Vanguard pilots who are dumbasses while I'm in a Gladius, which shouldn't have any business fighting a Vanguard. It just goes down to it. If you're a terrible fighter pilot, you're gonna lose 9 times out of 10 to anybody. Like, freaking, a dude with a rock will beat you in combat, and that's what I love about this game. Is that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you have the best, most kitted out ship in the universe. If you're shit at fighting, you're still shit at fighting. And most of the people who are going to come into this game in 2-3 years when it's more finished, they're going to find out that the bad players today, like the players who are actually playing but are just trying but not doing so well, will mop the floor with them.
Yeah. I always play. If you want to get good at this game, if you want to become a very competent fighter pilot, you just need to have a willingness to die over and over again. Find a good bunch of people who are pretty competent and willing to teach you, and just get at it. And then you will lose to these people for a long period of time. It will be disheartening, but your progression, your learning curve will go like, wow. And before you know it, you'll jump in and fight people who are, average, and you'll wipe the floor with them because you're playing with the best or really, really good pilots. And it's the same in everything in life. It's frustrating to start with, and you may lose all the time, but then eventually you'll
always dying in life.
You just got to stay at it. You got to stay at it. It's like the talking about the racing.
My front door, dead.
It's like racing. You know what I mean? Like racing. Like I can't do racing.
There's a Tom Cruise movie about that.
It's okay.
Oh yeah, the Edge of Tomorrow.
I repeat. I put that for my when I was playing that army game the other day. That's what puts my title, because I literally go up, die. So for fuck's sake.
I preferred the what was it? The Bill Murray movie. Remember that one?
Groundhog
Day.
Yeah. Less dying in that though.
I'm not sure. There was quite a bit at some point.
He actually tried to commit suicide. The whole time in that movie.
It was in very imaginative ways. It was a very good film. But for me, in terms of the racing, I find I've still yet to sit down and really kind of get at the racing, if I'm being honest. I know a lot of people are trying to do it again. That's usually a sign that people are bored with a patch. It's when everyone swings back round to racing again. I always find that. I find that quite amusing. It's like the last savior of the patch. It's like, yeah, we're going to try racing. Yay!
Yeah, racing. They haven't broken the flight model yet. You can actually go through the hoops.
Let's go back to racing. So yeah, that one is a steep learning curve. I feel like racing, they should have a beginner's kind of, literally like
Beginner's
with kind
course,
of
yeah.
a beginner course, like a temp in bowling. You bring down the lane size to protect you.
Years ago, that race course is not even made. Well, we know it wasn't made for the current flight model, but they've even admitted that there's just, you can't really race in it properly because it's not made for it. So
no, it's just
like you
crazy.
could die a million times.
Really what they need is that team they've been saying they've been putting together since the beginning of this year for Arena Commander. Like Arena Commander and Star Marine, like the reality is that Arena Commander and Star Marine are more important than people would like to realize, because the universe is always going to be kind of garbage in terms of its performance for a while. There's still a lot of stuff that needs to get added, and you know, after maybe even if all of the stuff that's in game right now, like if we have like mining and salvage and, you know, piracy and smuggling and all these sorts of things, they're all in game, and bounty hunting and all that kind of stuff. They're all in game, say by next year. Even with the entire stanchion system, you'll probably still only be able to play 10, 20 hours a week before things get really stale if you're trying to play the game routinely. So something like Arena Commander, Star Marine, or you know, the Murray Cup for Arena Commander are good because they can inject some just pure action, like instant action combat, and get your skills up in a way that when you die because some drunken streamer with a stolen Aurora blows up your saber, instead of getting super frustrated, you know, because you have to go back and retool everything because you just got wrecked. You can hop onto Arena Commander, where if you're getting wrecked, at least you can respawn and play again, or go to another round and all kind of stuff. And that's going to be more important than people realize going down.
And that was kind of like the original intent of Arena and Star Marine, a safer area for people to test out and learn and just experiment with stuff. But in reality, it's just like you got all the tryhards and tricked out people who've got the Hornets all the full rental packages, and they're just ripping people apart in there because no one else is playing. One of the reasons why we're upset over the tutorials is because Arena Commander and Star Marine are just objectively awful. No one's playing. You go watch a tutorial on how to play Star Marine in 3.1.4. No one's in there. It's empty. It's 2v2s, 1v1s, or no one.
And even the tryhards are like, listen, we need to refit. This whole thing needs to reflect the universe rather than
It's just bad. It's just bad. Like you said, Paul. You said at the beginning. It's bad at the moment. It's not. There's no way I can't sit here and you know, if someone came to me and said All-Star Citizen, would you recommend it? I can't honestly recommend it right now. I would say to people, no. I will say to them, come and watch, and if you want to play on my account for an hour or two, and I'll talk you through it, and I'll show you, and I'll explain to you kind of like what the great parts of that it's going to become. But I wouldn't say to you right now. Like they literally, like I had a friend to me like, oh, I was watching Star Citizen the other day, and then I said, he goes, but like there's some ridiculous like packages, like again it's the whole kind of like big prices, and then he was like, how much money does it cost to play to get in, and like he was just really confused, and I was just like,
I always tell people starter package, that's all you need. Starter package. This you can scroll down, show them there's options, but nope, starter package. I basically just gloss over the other packages. Like you need an Aurora MR or Mustang Alpha. If you need anything more than that, you can talk to a streamer or a YouTuber. You can look it up. But this is all you need to start.
Yeah, he's just this. I don't want to keep him away though. He's one of those kind of people that would have to get the best shit though. Do you know what I mean? He's like one of those guys. He's like, oh, I got to get the best gear.
Even then, I would tell people the only reason you should spend $45 right now is that you don't want to spend $60 in a couple of years.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why. That's the only honest to God reason I would say it's like the best idea for anybody who's looking to play a game that is called Star Citizen, not what we have currently. Is to buy a package, so they have that $45 and they have that in, and plus they also get the perks for being a backer for a certain number of years and stuff like that, and just come back in 2 years and check up on it and be like, oh, cool. This is, you know, set a timer on your phone or like on the internet. So something
set a remind me on your phone.
Yeah.
And, Madness sent a link. We've discussed it before on the podcast, but Madness sent a link on his chat, Discord, about this other podcast that a question came up about Star Citizen. And I pretty much mirror exactly what they were saying in terms of like, it's just too far away. Like it's not anywhere near developed to even play it unless so those guys hadn't backed it at all. And I think that's kind of option that you have. You either the only reason to buy it now is because you're interested in the development and you want to support it, which is I suppose kind of the only reason right from the start. But if you're buying it to, like you said, play the game, it's not worth it. Like really, if you can't stand betas, you can't stand things not working or being broken, honestly, either just buy the package, walk away and leave it and just wait. And just come back in a few years' time and go, oh, wow, look, oh, yeah, I forgot I've got this game, and come and play it.
If you don't think 30 FPS is worthy of your attention,
you know,
I paid for
PC gaming. Then
I can only give you £3 until the FPS is higher.
I had somebody come in and do exactly that. They came in and to my stream when I was streaming, and they were like, "I'm just coming in. I've been away for a few years. I just want to see the state of the game." I gave him an update, and I was like, "Come back next year." Basically, come back this time next year. Or I said, check out. I mean, you know, check in periodically. I would say every couple of months. Just do like a little check because I explained to him that we now have the quarterly drops. So I said to him, like, you know, every quarter now we're going to have information. So I said, by Christmas this year, pop in, see where we're at with all the latest stuff, or this time next year, and you can keep up. You know, it's coming.
Christmas, January
it will
1st,
happen.
that's what I'm telling my viewers.
It will happen. The game will be finished, but it's
it
just
will
you know,
eventually. I can't tell people in all honesty, like this Christmas next year. Oh, it's going to be much better. It'll probably be better. I can't guarantee you that it'll be
for like years. We've been
saying
it.
Because the problem is that at a certain point, even our reputation gets ruined because we're like, oh, just wait a little bit longer, At a certain point, you should be like,
2017.
Whatever.
That was kind of rough.
Come back and check. Come back and check in next year if you're okay with it. But you know, I can guarantee you that it's not going to be whatever you think this game's going to be. Like, I don't think it'll ever be what most people's idea of the game's going to be, but. If you want a game that's a game that you can play, that's done, that's finished, that has polish, and you can play with your friends, and you know, is something amounting to the game that was promised, then 2-3 years maybe. You know, we have no idea, honestly, though, because like 2017 happened. I'm gonna
call because I'm gonna move on because this stuff gets talked about so fucking much. It's like, let's move on. Let's talk about what we do know, which is the roadmap, and this is what we have seen. This is the roadmap for the rest of the year. 3.2 is getting 3.3 is getting and then what's interesting is, you've noticed 3.5 at the end there is like this big, and I'm like expecting 3.5 at the beginning of next year to be about this big, if I'm being honest.
To be fair, much of the stuff that was moved over from 3.2, the two things were service beacon improvements.
Yep, service beacon stuff.
Yeah, and one of the big things that's been over there that was moved over was the Mustang rework. Like nothing major in terms of
salvage. Wasn't salvage in 3.2?
Salvage, but we all knew that salvage, like when we originally saw 3.2, there's not a single person, maybe some hardcore cultists out there.
Stuff in 3.2.
Yeah, it was like salvage mining and all these, like, nope, that's not happening. That's not happening.
Can I just say, how on earth is it that we, the community who don't even build the game, could fucking see that, and they themselves could? Is that them just trying to well, I
suppose they probably set themselves an ambition. It's what they would like to do. That's what the roadmap always starts off. This is what we would like to get done in time, and then everything obviously takes longer, and then other things hit it. So the
first time they've done the roadmap publicly with us. So and one of the things about Scrum and these sprints and stuff like that is, and I believe it's called Scrum, the program they're using, is that the closer you get to your target goal, the better you get at estimation. Which is why 4 years ago they were garbage at predicting dates, and it wasn't until the last couple of years they've gotten, you know, within months rather than years of their target estimates. And you know, this year, pretty good. Like, I'm fairly confident that what's on the I don't think we're gonna have much slippage, if anything, and maybe the network bind culling, and I'm probably, you know, I'm always love it. When that slips, it's gonna slip, because when that slips to 3.3, that's probably the closest thing that will slip. I'm fairly certain it will. The panic brigade's going to happen throughout the community. Oh, the game's never going to get done. But, you know, like, just prepare yourself now for that to slip. But other than that, I feel like most of that stuff, even mining, is going to make it in. It's not going to be good, but it's going to be in.
You're just going to you're gonna roll up to a rock and you're going to shoot a laser at it, and then stuff's going to fall into your ship, and that's going to be it. That's going to be mining. It's not going to be amazing, but they're going to try to make it amazing over time. If you give them some time, they'll make it look good, just like the ships.
Okay, but I mean, at least the roadmap is what we've asked for a long time.
Yeah.
At least we're seeing it, and when it gets pushed back, we know it's getting pushed back.
Everybody can see it.
We're not sitting here for months and months going, is it coming or not? Is it coming? Like, we know. Okay, so it's pushed back, right? We're definitely not getting that.
Yeah,
we know we're not getting it.
And it's not sequestered on some secret part of the website either. It's public. Everybody can see it. Even if you're not a backer, you can click on that button and look at it.
Okay, so with regards to, I'm breaking down in terms of what is actually looking like it's definitely going to be in, and there's some things is remote turrets last week have been, I believe, feature complete now, which is interesting. So remote turrets. So I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, do we have remote turrets currently?
Super Hornet. Starfarer, Freelancer has remote turrets on it. Starfarer is those main guns on the side of the cockpit are remote. Super Hornet has a remote turret. And there's probably a few more, but I'm forgetting. But those are the big ones I know of right now.
Well, the ones that there's only one that works, which is the Super Hornet, and it's not visible at all. But you have the Freelancer. Technically, can't have those turrets be remote, so you can have someone use those side guns as a co-pilot. That's in theory, but I think that they may have also changed in development at some point.
I don't think that's.
The Reclaimer has remote turrets. The big one that everyone has should be an Ursa. Ursa has a remote turret that can't be used currently. I think that was the big thing that a lot of the reason why remote turrets are in. And of course, the 3.3s has the Hammerhead coming out, which just means that they have to fix turrets now because the
Hammerhead's slipping.
Yeah. Which is good. That's the one reason I was like, as much as I taking the piss out of the Hammerhead for ages, because I still do, because this literally the Hammerhead could be one of those, oh my god, why the fuck did I spend all this money on this ship because all the turrets are awful.
You say that,
or
but
it'll be great.
I think it's going to take a while, but I think they will get there eventually with turrets. It's not like it's, I think like any of the technology they're working on, it probably, well, why bet they get there quick? What difference is it going to make as long as it's working when the game's out? Like, it's something that will happen. It's like
that's fine. I can't argue with that in terms of the way, as long as everything's finished and working on game day, that's fine. But I mean, we are watching the process all the way through. So if at no stage turret's ever fixed, then live will either never ever happen or it will just be shit.
Here's the thing. You can either put Band-Aids on it, and then you have to take the Band-Aids off to apply the real fix, or you can tell everybody to shut up and just take the real fix and save the time of having to put Band-Aids on everything all the time. Because you have to undo the Band-Aids. And we've had that problem before, where we've had bugs showed up back when they implement the tech they want to have in the game. They have to start pulling out all the old patches and tech that they put in as a placeholder. A lot of the back end server stuff is like that. They put in a lot of Band-Aids and fixes until they finally had to go through and just rip the guts out of Lumberyard and CryEngine and build their own network from the ground up. I mean, by the time this game is released, though, when they say it's a Star engine, it's going to be its own proprietary engine. There's no way this is going to look anything like Lumberyard when it's finally done.
Even on the Legacy Armour thing, I know we're going to go about later, but that's what they were talking about on there in terms of when they first got it designed. It was implemented as concept armour, just went straight into the game so that we actually had armour to wear. And then on top of that, it was designed by so many different people put together that they've had to redesign it with a single kind of designer linking the parts together so that it's not so jumbled. And I think that's maybe why we're seeing, say some of the things that we wanted, like the mining or whatever, when they said it was going to be in this patch or whatever, that we haven't seen it, because there's no point in them putting it in too early. And yes, it'll work, it'll break your rock up, but if it's, like you said, like a Band-Aid type of version of it, that it's going to again completely get rechanged, it might break something else and not make it worth it. So they've got to be sure that it's actually worth implementing before they stick it in there now, because otherwise, if it just breaks everything else, it's really pointless just sticking it in because we just want it now. It's,
so here's the thing, though. So on about the turrets, because obviously the automatic turrets, well, no, the remote turrets are looking like they're good. The manned turrets, now the manned turrets is obviously what we're mainly talking about here as well, is they've entered the polish stage. So I am like 3. I'm like this, literally just like, I really hope they get them working, because for many people, the first experience of a multi-crew experience on the spaceship is the first person always you get on a ship is usually goes, if you're a second person in the ship, you go on the turret. You go on the gunner.
Turret.
That's what you do. And it's been shit. And so for me, I really, like, from the bottom of my heart, want them to get it right this time. I want it to be that tight, it locks on, and it works really well.
That's a huge reason why people don't multi-crew, because that's generally because nothing else works as multi-crew. So that's generally the second job that someone will jump on and join you. Is to use the turret. And
I will say, if you have a decent pilot, and this is always going to be the case, if you have a good pilot and you have good shooters, you can use the turrets fairly well. The problem is that the turrets are garbage, and
you can't use them. You can't use them for the way I look at it is, yes, you can. I mean, I've done it before. I've been in a Cutlass and I've had somebody in there, but it usually resorts to me kind of going decoupled, flying backwards, shooting, and being able to stay stationary as much as possible, because it enables him to be able to hit the target. If I start wildly going around and all over the place, he's not really enjoying himself.
You can't, like,
trying to chase a target.
You got to move left and right and forward and back. You can't move. You can't roll or do any kind of major maneuvering. You have to keep it at a steady pace. And there's lots of other things, but even then, there's still so many problems with the turrets that tracking is off. And we've talked about that. We talked about it here. We talked about it in every fucking podcast. We talked about how it's messed up.
It's been talked about for ages, and I just hope they fix it. That's one of the things. So we'll move on from the turrets. What's interesting is, as well, is so we've got an economy polish, which again, I know we talked about this, and I know, Paul, we are the same thing. Until we realistically get ships to buy in game, you can polish the fucking economy in my head until you think that is the end loop. That's the final. In my head, that's you got to have that final. It's like buying lots of armor is fine. I know
it's not on the roadmap.
And it's
you can't even buy guns now for
our ships. Yeah,
and you can buy equipment for our ships, but it doesn't mean shit. Like, I've even talked with CIG developers who came in. I'm like, hey, which one's better, this one or this one? And they've been like, fuck, man, they're all the same. They don't work for it like right now. They're supposed to. The numbers don't mean anything. It's like, oh, okay. So, like, even the equipment doesn't matter. Like, at the very least, if we had equipment and guns, it would make sense. But we don't have equipment. It's not. We have no idea when it's coming. Like, it's actually going to matter. It may matter more this patch, but they haven't talked about it. Yeah. And we may have, like, everyone's saying, oh, we might be able to purchase guns. They haven't said shit about purchasing guns in game.
No, well, it's not here. It's not here. They just show us.
And what they have been showing us is that Hurston has its own gun show. But it has its own
tickets. You got your tickets to the gun show.
Well, they've all got their own kiosks, right? You got Kasabia's got his own kiosk, and they're going to extraordinary. Do you know what I feel like? You know, when someone's kind of like making something just look really, really pretty around the edges, so that they don't have to get to the meat of it. Sometimes I know this is not true, but I just in my head sometimes I think they keep painting all the way around the glass bottle so that we don't get. They're making it really like I'd rather honestly have just a simple bottle and actually have the drink itself. I really just want to get the fucking chips to buy.
I believe Vertigo and I spent an entire bodiless camp. Vertigo was on the last captain's table where we talked about that extensively. About the problem.
Just put a fucking terminal in All-Star. I don't care if it's an Aurora MR or a Mustang Alpha. One ship, I don't care. Put a terminal in there. Purchase it. It goes to the ASOP terminal, and then you can spawn it at All-Star. I don't fucking care. Just do it. Don't mess it up.
Just make it really basic.
Yeah.
and then we can all we'll all be
Check
silenced.
the box. Tell everybody to
Buy
shut
games.
up. Check the box. We're gonna add more ships, so he's gonna look better later. Just get everybody to shut up about
There'd
it.
be plenty of people. There'd be plenty of people who'd actually be buying. Would be jumping into the game because like I've got an Aurora and now I can actually can afford go after an Avenger or a Cutlass. Like,
Just
cool.
give us 3
You can beat up
ships. Give us
Sabres
3
now.
ships.
You
An
can beat up
Aurora,
Sabres now.
an Aurora, a Cutlass, and you could, if you really wanted to make a silly prize, you could put like a Starfarer in as like a huge amount of money that they can't
the
get.
ship list should be all the ships that are year-round pledges. You should be able to purchase all those ships in game.
Yeah,
I think so.
Knox,
but they won't.
The Cartwell, not that the Glaive, no.
No, but like the Avenger, the
should do all of
Cutlass, the
Hornet,
300i,
Standard Hornet,
the 300i, the Constellation, and that's it. Like that list, or even just what's on the rec list right now for Arena
the rec
Commander.
list done.
It's already available in the back end for
once
Arena
they got the
Commander.
technology to do one, there's absolutely no reason not to allow them all.
And the other thing is that you have kiosks. It's just it works. Just put it on the fucking kiosk.
Yeah, it used to work, and then you turned it off. Like we can rent ships, and they would work in the persistent universe, and then you turned it off.
It was a bug, but then they turned it off. They still didn't turn off the weapons. Then you can still rent weapons and put it in the persistent universe.
It's funny how the weapons work.
Funny.
They could let you.
Oh well, did they switch off
for them to work it out?
But they switched. But they switched back on. Then they switched. Yeah, right. Then they switched. Like there was a thing as well. Is like there's day tokens on rec stuff. And did they? Because there was talk about this. I don't know if they ended up doing it, but there was talk that they made it so that the weapons in the verse. Maybe because now everything's persistent, they didn't need to. I think that's the reason. So when you die, like I die now, and my ship blows up or gets lost or whatever, I lose my weapons. They've gone now.
Yep.
I can't use them. Do they go from my account or they just go from the? I haven't checked this.
They go from your account. Like you can't. You don't see them in your list anymore once you lose them in the persistent universe.
They're completely gone.
That's what the Arena Commander pros say. You keep a ship that for Arena Commander. If you want to fight in Arena Commander, you keep a ship with all the modules and weapons you want for Arena Commander, and you never use it in the persistent universe, or else you lose it all.
Mm-hmm. See, that's really like I don't understand how you can lose what is effectively meant to be a computer game simulation, and that has
limited. And I was ranting about that when the new Razors came out, like limited edition electrons.
And how do you even? But things, how can you even? How can you even use a computer gun effectively? Because this is we all talk about. This is the idea: is you go into your sim pod and you play Arena Commander. How can you actually even use a simulated gun on a real ship in part of the real world? Is also another. Like I just don't.
Well, you shouldn't, should you?
You shouldn't. But the reason why it works right now is because it's a bug and they never turned it off or they never fixed it. And like people say, well, it sounds easy, but it's not simple when you turn it on. I would have that argument is completely legitimate for a lot of things. Like a lot of people say, oh, it's super easy to say it, and it's a good argument that like some things are easier said than done. And you're not programmers. If you're not a programmer, you don't really understand it. Or if you're not looking at what they're doing, it's harder to understand it, be in their shoes. But the problem about that argument for me is that it was in the game.
It was in the game.
To use your wrecked ships in the persistent universe was in game. It was a bug, but it was in game, so it worked. We knew that they've linked them together. Your account.
They've done it. They flipped a switch. They've flipped a switch, Paul, and given us all shit.
They changed a little bit of line of code to change it to make it not happen anymore. But it worked.
They can give you ships.
It still works. The weapons still work. So why don't the ships could potentially work, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we talk about this forever. Again, it's another conversation we can have forever. But
one of those things that just goes around.
It just goes around and around. But it's a good one. The other thing we talk about is the 600i is it's not looking great in terms of like I was looking at it. It's 52. I know it is like it's funny how we all hate. Do you know what's funny is if you actually watch all the videos generally back on the 600, everyone was like, "What the fuck is the point of this ship? It don't make sense. It's pointless. It's too much money." But
larger constellation,
I think as people have seen it develop, it hasn't changed. It's just I think that's the thing. We've seen the bed at the bottom. I think all the men have just gone, yeah, that's awesome. The bed at the bottom in like the glass, and then it's just like, yeah, okay.
It doesn't have ears on the ceiling though, so I'm not interested.
Yeah, okay. It's a luxury add-on.
That's kind of
a luxury add-on.
Yeah. You have to buy that. Yeah. Well, we'll be waiting for the variant version that will come out, the stealth version of the 600. That'll be the next one.
Railgun on a spinal mounted on it. You know,
Yeah.
it's for taking out Van Duel while you're doing rails on.
Don't joke. It's happening. It will be happening. You'll have armor. You know, the glass will just like all close over with armor and have tiny like kind of like an 18 van. They should cue the music like every time they do like a variation. Oh, sorry. Can we clear up what's a variant CRG? Is a variant a hull change or is a variant just a skin and loadout change? What would you consider a variant?
Question. They used to say that if it's the same hull, if you could basically rip if it's just new weapons, then it's a variant. If there's a fundamental change in geometry for the hull, it's a new ship.
Yeah.
Or it's like the 350R is a new ship. It's
kind
not
of
a
like,
variant.
And here, yeah, the Vanguards, like the difference between the Harbinger, the Warden, the Hoplite. There's variants in there, and then there's different ships in there.
Yeah, like the Hoplite
Bucks.
is a completely different ship
from
the Harbinger, the Warden, and the Sentinel. Those three can be interchangeable, but the Hoplite is a totally different whole configuration.
Yeah.
So in CIG's own logic, that's the thing. So the reality is that we have no goddamn idea if this stuff actually a ship or not.
But they don't, because they've said it before now that the way because we were discussing before about modulars and when the modules are going to come in, and will that work in different variants of the ship? Because if it's the same shape and everything, then why not? And they've now turned around and said that no, a variant is a different ship, and it has to be modular for it to be able to change role. Otherwise, if you want that different role, you would have to buy the variant, which is, I suppose, they were talking more on like the Vanguard. Because not the Vanguard, sorry, the Avenger, because you got like the Bounty Hunter and everything else, and now they're saying no, it's no longer going to be hot swappable modules. It's literally different variants. So I don't think they've done this. It's not the first time they've done it. They use a word and then it's like they confuse themselves because I don't think they know exactly. They probably know in their head what they mean by it, but they use the wrong words all the time. It's like they never have a sow. That sort of saying.
Yeah, exactly.
And I covered it a little bit today on the Razors, because the whole idea was some of these ships, the variants, the idea behind them was you would purchase the ship from the pledge store and it would come with either higher grade or different items equipped to it, different higher grade shield generators, higher grade engines than say the base model. That way, when you claim the insurance on the ship, that you would get that model with that new higher level gear on it. That would be its new base, which would be higher than the base ship. And that was kind of like the idea behind that. The variance was like it just came with better equipment stock. So
as we're talking about the variant, I'll load up the video of the Misc
LX EX. And the whole idea was like this. Like you look at the Hornets. I always look at the Hornets for an excellent example of variants. You know, the tracker, the stealth, and the civilian Hornet, and the F7CM. The M comes with mil-spec equipment. We showed this on the stream today. The F7CM comes with mil-spec equipment, and the F7C comes with civilian spec equipment. And that's kind of like, other than the which is a different ship. The M is a different ship, but if it was similar to the C, but you can take the components out of the M and put it into the C pretty easily.
But you can't put a separate seat in the C.
Yeah, and that's what makes the M a separate ship. Is its unique geometry. But
I'm going to ask a question when you finish. Carry on. No, when you finish, carry on.
And the thing with the Razors is that, like the black one, the stealth one, which is the ES, has stealth hull. I don't think you can take the hull off and place it into an LX model. So that makes it a different ship. A different ship, but it doesn't have unique geometry thow. It's like,
and
the tracker has kind of the same thing though too.
And also with the Delta is similar to that too. In the Mustang, it's like it has missile pods that no other ship can put. No other Mustang has that hard point in it. So and it's stealth hull and stuff like that. So fucking stealth everything. It's a stealth citizen now. All right, we've changed the name. It is stealth citizen. Stealth citizen.
So okay, so somebody says, like Blaster says, the ship looks a lot crappier in game. Now, this actually made me think about the comment that you just made is that obviously we get sold a high poly advert effectively. You know, everything is high poly. You know, we seen the Nox advert with the trail of smoke behind it, and you know you know, it's really high poly. But obviously when it goes to the game, it has to be, you know, what's the word for it? I'm trying to think for when they reduce the polys and try and make it is it optimized? Is that the word I'm looking for? So they optimize the ships, I guess, would be the way to make it. So yeah, it becomes pixelated like Minecraft, you know?
I just hear the Transformer sound inside of
That's what I had.
Optimized
Prime. Hey, did you guys hear about our Lord and Savior Optimus Prime? If you link your Optimus Prime account to your Twitch,
have you heard about the benefits of Twitch Prime?
If you are an Amazon subscriber, you can subscribe with Twitch Prime.
You can use it here or anywhere else.
So
also,
here's the thing about
channel you like following. If you deem them worthy.
If you deem them worthy, you can use your Twitch Prime account to subscribe to them if you deem them worthy.
Here's my thing on this
about,
one. Hang on. I was going to say about the Razor. Like, if this was meant to be the advocacy, I honestly thought it would be a bit more kind of like matte and less shiny. Is my honest truth to it. It feels too glossy still. I thought it was going to be like, you know, like a stealth. If you ever get close,
it doesn't matter.
If you ever get close to like a stealth bomber and stuff, like it's all much more kind of like matted and matte finish. And I was just expecting that type of finish and a lot, not this high gloss. It just looks like a racer. It doesn't feel like a stealth, in my opinion. Like it should have all blacked out windows and it should have a glowing red bar that just goes across the front like that.
Kind of like Knight Rider.
pretty much, exactly. And a big red stripe. So it should be a mix. Should be basically 80s idea of stealth, like kind of like because the A-Team, the A-Team are the epitome of stealth vehicles. Black, big, huge Ford truck with a big red stripe at the side. Nobody could find them in all of America. They were the best stealth. That is the stealth to copy.
It's four or five guys. They're all ex-military. They all wear the same clothes everywhere they go. And drive a giant black van, but nobody knows who the fuck they are.
Nobody knows. But yet some stranger is in trouble. Knows somebody that knows them.
In America, and we all drive black vans with red stripes on the side. It's just that was the 80s was a different time. We all just enjoyed our black vans, our pedo black vans that have no windows. That have spoilers in the back, you know.
What I never understood is why the guy who was trying to chase him. Sorry, we're slightly off topic here, but I always love to go off topic. Never understood why he didn't just call in a fake helpline to say, "Help me, A-Team, I really need your help," because that would have got them coming. Because they somehow it was like some cousin knew somebody somehow managed to call this elite team that they could never get hold of. There was some random they get on a payphone and be like, "Is that the A-Team? Yeah, I really need your help." But the military. I love that show. No one got killed. Does anyone know that? Nobody ever got killed. No one died on the show. There's cars going everywhere. Oh, I love that show. Brilliant movie.
I fucking love your background. There you go. He's got it.
Oh, yeah. It's stealth. That should be what the Razor should have been. That should have been the Razor right there. The ultimate stealth vehicle.
Can I go on a little tangent since you went on yours?
Yeah, go for it.
I was playing Alien Isolation. And you get to the part where you first meet the alien, he just rips a guy in half. Your character you're playing, Amanda Ripley, flips the fuck out, and you get this fucking wrench hammer thing. And as soon as I get that, of course, they throw you in with like human enemies start coming at you. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stealth this guy, and I just mash his face in. And everybody in the room was like, I heard a noise. What was that noise? As the guy's dying,
dying brutally. Right. Okay. Thanks for that.
All right. Thanks for that. Anyways, 4K textures. We're getting sold a ship that's not 4K textures. Here's my take on it. They're optimizing everything right now. They haven't put in different levels of like graphic settings. Everything's just the same graphics. If you turn down your graphic settings to like low, the only difference is like shadows, really.
Yeah. I agree. I don't see any of it.
It's a racing ship that has no purpose right now. Don't buy
racing
it.
Ship
I'm just don't buy it.
If you like it, if you want to give them money, you like the look of the damn thing. Who am I to tell you how to spend your money?
They were saying on RTV that the Freelancer Max, the one that you get in your hangar still, is the same poly as an Idris.
It's not the same poly. It's as intensive, system intensive as an Idris is currently in game.
Someone's asking about the 27. The 27, like I'm really surprised that, and we said about this earlier. We'll just briefly cover it again quickly. The 27K thing, I honestly don't give a shit about. It's my honest truth. I don't have 27K. I mean, if you got 27K on this, like, whatever.
I think the general gaming response, like I've seen this kind of posted on other gaming like subreddits and other places like that. And the general response of the community outside of Star Citizen.
Work there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, the general community of response to the community outside of Star Citizen is pretty kind of indicative of what the community outside Star Citizen thinks, that this game is just like a scam that's nothing but pay to win. And the response to the community is like, we don't care. Who cares?
I mean, like you're upset over 2,700. We got $500 ships. I mean,
yeah,
like we have exceeded the point of outrage, in my opinion. At five,
yeah, I mean the price of
Yeah.
some individual ships is actually worse than selling a package that has every ship for 27 grand. In some ways, like having a ship worth that sort of value is crazier.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Do you know what makes me scared? Do you know what makes me kind of like? I kind of go, holy fuck! Is like, there's 27 grand's worth of ships in the game, and yet we still haven't got a single fucking ship to play in the fucking game yet. That's my thing that bugs me more than anything. Is that aspect that we spoke about earlier? It's just that pisses me off. 119 ships or something, and we still.
Oh, I mean, there's an entire video I'm in the process of making about the ship collecting minigame of Star Citizen, how that's become more important to the community than the game itself.
It's one of those. It's definitely one of those odd things that it's now become like, especially on Facebook, you see in the Star Citizen groups, in terms of like, oh, it's a new ship, I've got to get it. It's almost like gambling. It's that addiction to something collecting there, and they have to get it. You know, it's kind of weird. It's gone. I haven't noticed it in any other game. I suppose we have in terms of people that buy cosmetics and stuff in other games. Oh, I've got to have all the cosmetics. It's kind of like that, but it is a monster in its own. People are just obsessed with getting every new. It doesn't matter what it is. If they bring out a new ship, there is someone out there that will buy it just because it's a new ship.
And that's why I was like really spurging out over the limited availability of the Warbond Razor, the LX and the ES. This really kind of plays into that mentality of I got to have it. It's collectible. It really does play into the gray market, especially if you're into the speculation or you're into you got that collection kind of like I need to have it. I need to have a new ship. Anybody got more of those Warbonds? I need them. You know, that kind of stuff. Like especially the gray market too.
Here's the bottom price, bottom line. The only reason why they're selling a $27,000 package is because people will buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
People will buy a 50 grand, like someone says in chat, 100 grand. There will be some idiot out there who will do it, and it's like because they can, because they're
looking at you.
There are people who've spent over 200 grand on this project. I guarantee you that there are people like that exist, and you know,
Intel being one of them. Sorry, unconfirmed. Sorry. AMD, another one, and probably, maybe, who knows? The secret backers. It does make you wonder, though. Like, I'm just conspiracy theory. No, nothing confirmed, but conspiracy on this one. You know, who's to say some of these big, large, huge 27, 28Ks? Why couldn't they be, you know, setting themselves up for potential sponsorship for the future, backing themselves?
I mean, the reality is that if you're upset about this, you haven't been paying attention. Like this has been going on for longer than that.
It's just such a stupid thing to get upset about. Oh wow, you're selling a package that's expensive. So fucking what? People sell fucking caviar or truffle on a fucking dinner that costs like thousands and thousands. Like no one's making you buy the fucking thing.
They were selling freaking $350 tickets to go watch Chris Roberts eat in LA.
Yeah. Do you know what the worry I have though, Paul, is that when you get up into these huge kinds of money, my worries is, let's say the game goes live, okay, and let's say let's just say that there's someone hacks the game, okay, let's say they're gonna have that shit tight. They're gonna have that shit tied down really, really good, because if there is some sort of thing I know about like games and some games like The Division and other people, is there's a lot of good hackers out there. If somebody hacks into the game and there's a way of cheating the system and being able to get people loads of ships for free,
that's not going to happen now with their data system they have. All the ship
fucking
stuff
better
is on the
not
server.
happen. It better not happen, because
there will be ways
that
of
would
breaking
be
the
bad.
game outside of getting ships, like be able to teleport through your ship, the wall of your ship, and shoot you in the head while you're flying it at light speed. That will probably happen.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like,
there's going to be problems. The big thing, ironically, to a degree, the thing that will hold most people back, which is the whole funding scheme they've had so far, is going to prevent it from being ridiculously popular early on. And the one thing that I've noticed is that an early access game getting popular is a recipe for disaster because they don't have enough security measures, and then you get DayZ, where the whole game is just hackers and scripters because they don't have a good lockdown on the game, and then so everyone just kills each other because they can. And so because everyone else is scripting and they're not getting banned for it, everyone else gets scripts so they could do the same thing. I mean, it's happened. I'm sure it's happening with Fortnite right now. I know it happened with PUBG for a while.
PUBG for a bit,
if you're a popular game, you're gonna have hackers. And
definitely. Yeah.
You know, the Star Citizen being really low in the totem pole in terms of popularity, except for maybe CitizenCon. In terms of its
once a year for CitizenCon,
yeah, once a year when everyone starts paying attention to the game again. It's that's I don't think that's going to be a huge issue, just because of A, how they're developing the game, and B, it's not going to attract that kind of crowd early on at least.
Hope so. Anyway, that's let's. I'm gonna. Did you guys read the Hercules, the Q&A?
Yeah, I read the first one. Did they have a second one come out yet?
So I don't know if I'm still reading the first one, but this is the one. What's interesting about this is one of the questions was can we expect to see bomb racks? And because I speculated this, and I'm glad
that's the first one still.
Yeah. Okay. So can we expect to see bomb racks and bays on other ships like the Retaliator or bombs? Blah blah blah. Their response is that only the Hercules currently, but they did say, however, we're looking at ways to allow a few select ships we've already announced or released, like the Retaliator, to transport and use bombs, although they may not be able to carry the impressive. They might, and I'm highlighted this, might not be able to carry the impressive size 10 bombs. So there's not. I love CIG's wording on things because they love to keep everything loosey and kind of nothing's really
non-committal.
Non-committal because they know they're going to change it. And if they
can't pin them down,
can't pin them down, so you can't guarantee. So like when people ask all the time, like, when is this game going to come out, or all that kind of stuff, the answer is we don't know. So are we going to have bombs in game? We don't know.
It's very much. This is why it's the game for everybody. There's never any. Everything's happening in the game eventually. That's why I get really frustrated with Call. I think it's Call the Devs, the recent one, the one that they just had today. I'm just like, I'm not being funny, but on that show is I had to write it down because I can't get the word for it. What did I write at the top? Where is it? Diegetic. That was literally everything I heard was diegetic, which just made me vomit every time I hear that word. Just because it's just like people using fluffy words.
Diegetic, optimization, fidelity. These are the buzzwords that you'll hear from CIG.
Subsumption for a while.
These are things these are things that mean nothing. Like they say it because they're trying to explain it, but it really just is a way of saying, I don't want to explain it to you. Go away.
You know? And so for me, it's just like, it's a game that's like they say it again. I have to write this down because it's like it's just for it just seems like it's just for everything. They're like, it will we'll get to it. We're not going to do this now, but we're going to. Every answer, it's like, we're not doing it now, but for the future, we're thinking about doing it. Oh, we've talked about it. It's for the future. We're going to maybe do. It's like, no wonder people kind of get their huge imagination about this game. It's
kind of like, so some games will set, and I think this was talked about. I can't remember where I saw it now, but anyway. So a lot of games. Well, I think it was that podcast you linked. Like, a lot of games will say, no, these are the features we're doing now, and they're locking it down, and that will be it. Whereas Star Citizen seemed to be not feature creeping, but just keeping it open because, that sounds cool. Maybe we will do it. Maybe we'll do it. And they don't seem to want to lock it down and just say, no, that's not going to happen. Even in RTV that I watched, it was like they talked about things saying, right, this isn't going to happen. And then almost instantly, Jared said, but remember, we are in development and things can change and nothing is ever 100%. We may well. And it's like, do they pretty much just said, no way is this going to happen? So it's like, if they can, they're always open. It's like, if we can make this happen, we will make it happen. The danger is
actually really refreshing in this game when they said, when I forgot, one of the guys in RTV said, there will be clipping. There's always going to be clipping. We can't 100% stop it.
It was Jay Lee or something because of the whole.
It's like thank God, finally some actual committal listen. This game's not going to be perfect when it comes out. It's not going to be fucking Second Life realistic super VR game. It's not going to be Ready Player One, The Oasis. You know, we're talking about a game that is going to be a game at the end of the day. So deal with it. Like even a little bit of that is nice. And I agree with you. One of the biggest problems I have is the mentality that the developers and the community seems to have, which is there's always an option to change, and we reserve the right to option to change things. It's been 7 years. It's been 7 fucking years in development. You can't change anymore. You need to lock shit down. Like, basic combat shouldn't be changing 4 years after it's first implemented. Like, most games don't even have a year to fix that. Most games will, when they first release, have 6 months to catch the eyes of their communities, or they walk away. They're so lucky that they have a community that will stick around like this, but they're abusing them. Like, they're not going to stick around forever. And look at Arena Commanders, like Arena Commanders today. They're just, the population is so low because people have just walked away.
But I suppose their version of locking something down, though, is basically wait until it gets to the point where Chris Roberts is happy with it, and then it's like, right, we'll lock that down. It's, you know, it's almost like that's how they're doing it. It's to his standard, right? Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking of when I saw combat. Right? Okay, we'll lock that down. I mean, someone on that podcast also said, like, you know, they can't add all these features, and I suppose to a certain degree, why not? Apart from time. You know, why not if they want to add up? Because that is a big gripe from a lot of MMOs. It's like you're playing MMO and then they always miss something out. There isn't a perfect one because you play it and it's like, well, it's missing this from this game and it's missing this from that game. And
then I get the second one.
Like, well, why don't people all stick it all in?
Then I buy the second one. Like The Witcher 1, 2, and then they perfected it by the third one. It's not perfect.
Yeah, but that's games.
But the third one,
like MMOs, you don't like. There's loads of MMOs out there already.
Can they just keep adding to it? Like Eve, for example, is a game that's grew and grew and grew, and they keep adding on and improving and changing the code and just getting bigger and bigger and better and better.
That's what we're doing right now.
You know.
But they did that right now.
But they did it. But they did it.
They've done it. They made your perfect game, Madness.
But then they do it live, right?
They're doing it live.
The thing is,
these guys are doing it.
I think to a degree we're actually starting to see them lock it down and be like, this is what we're looking for, basics. But the problem is right now is that with the latest patch and everything's broken in combat, and since combat is such the base, it's the basic feature of the game.
We went back and read Death of a Spaceman, and Chris Roberts in Death of a Spaceman 2013. He says 2012 Star Citizen is going to be mainly a space combat video game.
So get the fucking
and they broke space combat.
They've nailed more of the fucking economy than they've nailed the space combat, which is fucking weird.
No, they had it good.
The biggest worry about that in terms of having to lock something down is, and this was mentioned in terms of like Squadron 42. Like, so it's supposed to have been out. It's supposed to keep coming out. So we're not bothered by delays. Loads of games do delays, but it's got to come out at some point. So that is what Squadron 42 is: space combat. It's got to. Where is it? How someone's got to be able to make it work?
I was watching the gameplay demonstration, the vertical slice, and I was watching the Gladius combat sections, and I was just dying on the inside while I was watching. It looked like they were just all over the place. With the aim, they're just spraying space down with lasers and bullets from the Gladius, and I swear, finished the fight with a missile, and it's just like this does not look fun.
It's bad. It needs to work. I'm trying to think if they got. So finally, there's some movement on the network bind culling. Do we expect network bind culling to be in 3.2? Do you think it's going to be delayed, or do you think it'll hit it?
I would like it to be in there, but it's probably the thing that's going to slip the most. The network code's the most important stuff, and that's the hardest stuff to do. Like art assets, getting a ship in game, getting a weapon in game, getting a suit of armor in game. Like I hate to shit on the artists, I really do. They're really talented, excellent people, but this stuff is super complicated. This network stuff, like it's the next level. Like art stuff, that stuff that's proven, it's rote, it's been done a lot. Paul.
It's so complicated that no game nails it.
Yeah.
There are companies that have 100 or have 1,000 employees who are not making video games. That, companies like Apple and Google, who literally are searching the world for network engineers who know what they're doing and will pay them their firstborn child to get them to work for them. Like, you don't understand how much network engineering is in the way that, especially what Star Citizen is doing, is an unknown. There are maybe a couple hundred people in the whole world who know how to do what Star Citizen's trying to do, and they have like 4 of them. And people are like, oh well, just hire more people right now, hire more network engineers instead of artists. It's like, if they would if they could. Like, they're fighting for network engineers who are getting paid a fuck lot more money than they're paying their network engineers in Star Citizen.
Plus, like we've said before, like there is a limit to how many you can throw at a problem.
But, you know, 9 women can't make a baby in 1 month. You know, the old Mythical Man month. I can't remember the name of the. It's a programming. Law.
I sure as hell want to try it out. That's for sure. I'm happy to try. At least we should for science, right?
But the other thing is that, if I remember correctly, people have talked to me about that when they did the interview with some of the network engineers, or when some of the comments they've made for Star Citizen, they've said something to the effect of the network bind, the culling, whatever the network bind unbind system.
Yeah, network bind and culling.
It is reliant on OCS, so it may give small bonuses, but it's going to look like ass when it's implemented, because all it does is basically say, "Hey, Miz is on the other side of Yella, fighting a constellation, while I'm over here on Daymar trying to mine some rocks. Fuck Miz. You don't need to know about Miz fighting that constellation." Yeah, I'm sorry, Miz.
Always picking on me.
Yeah,
so you don't think it'll make it? You don't think it'll make it though, Paul?
Well, the problem is that it works best because with OCS, with object container streaming, it works so that you are in your own little area, your own little zone, and you don't have to give a shit about Miz, but OCS still has that Miz's data hanging in the wind, so that in case you suddenly get a spur up your ass and you need to go to Yella from your mining, it will load in Miz as you go there. But if you have to do that on the fly without OCS, it's going to have some major pop-ins and stuff like that, is from what I've gathered from what they've talked about. So it's not a myth, it's not a magical bullet, it's not going to make everything better. In fact, it could make things look worse, which may be the reason why it's not been progressed. And maybe one reason, like, let's just not talk about it and work about it, and let's wait until we can get closer to getting object container streaming in so that we can pull the whole thing together.
Do you know what I find interesting is it says it's 50% done here. Now, I remember for 3.1, we were told by CIG that it was already in testing and that it was really it was so close to being 3.1. It was like it just missed out because it needed to have extra tests done on it or something, and now it's only 50% done. So there must have been a shit ton of testing, and they must have found some serious problems with it. Like, because you're talking about it not working, and I'm just thinking maybe that, like you said, maybe that's justifying what you were saying. Effectively.
Like they could have easily gotten to the point where just like this wouldn't actually do anything except for make things worse. So why bother?
Maybe.
Let's just wait.
I mean, that's the nature of the beast. It's like you tackle it, you think you're there, and then someone goes, "Have you noticed this over here? It's really fucked up," and you're like, "Oh shit!" And then you fall backwards and you got to start again, type of thing. It's
So I'm going to say, so what gives me hope is the fact that we saw the Gravlev system get such a big improvement. So it shows to me that there's clearly more than competent people at CIG to solve these problems. I'm going to say one tiny thing on the Gravlev. The Gravlev is say for example you have the Reclaimer. The Gravlev is not very good for doing small maneuvers and intricate maneuvers. It's still awful, because I had a Reclaimer and I was trying to thread the needle on my Nox to go into the open door on the Reclaimer, and I couldn't get the hover to stay high enough. It would keep pulling me down to the ground, and then I wanted to, and then when I was like, okay, well, I'll go higher so I could get into SCM mode. But then as soon as I'm higher into SCM mode, then I come down, it switches back to, and I was like, oh, for the love of fucking Christ, I just want to go there.
There's an answer for that. I've just heard about an answer to this. So there's one problem. There's a problem with the last major problem. Well, not last major problem. I'm sure there's tons of other problems with recover. But one of the major issues that makes Gravlev funky is that Gravlev is not using raycast like it was designed to do.
Right,
So
okay.
when anyone knows what a raycast is, it's like in old games, like when you shot a bullet, it wouldn't actually be a bullet that would travel. It would be a straight laser line. And that laser you fired would be wherever anything that's in that path would get hit. And so Gravlev is supposed to have this constant raycasting where it's bouncing back and forth, so it's adjusting where you're supposed to be. A constant, think of it kind of like radar. It's constantly bouncing back and forth, and the game is trying to calculate how high you're supposed to be off the ground. Now, they don't have constant raycasting on Gravlev. It's intermittent, and so it checks in every so often about it, which is it's supposed to be. Which is the reason why if you see old footage of them doing it on like their own test service, it looks and feels and even seems to be a lot smoother. That's the reason why. One of the reasons, at least, other than the fact it's offline mode. But the only thing that has that constant raycasting is the landing gear. Because the landing gear has to be able to see where all the curves and stuff like that are on the ground so that it can bounce and apply to the curves like of where it's supposed to be. So, and that's apparently going to be fixed either in 3.2 or 3.3. That's one of the fixes they're adding into it. So that's the reason why it feels like you're trying to wrangle a horse that's in a hurricane rather than a
it's like one of those bucking machine bronco things. You just
bucking the electric bull.
Your life.
Okay, so we have some questions. We were talking about net binding, so I think that's answered Mr. Squarepeg's first question, which was about net binding. Net binding. So we've just
bind culling.
Bind culling, even. Sorry, that's what we kind of just. Captain Hazmat asks. He says, "Have bathrooms been talked about again in some form over the last 6 months? Like how much?" By the way, we read questions kind of as we go through as well, so we try and see if they're relevant, and then we'll kind of go through as we go along. Have bathrooms been talked about again in some form over the last 6 months? Like how much they will matter if a ship has. Yeah or not? I don't know. Like I mean,
remember them talking about on some of the capital ship stuff when they did Squadron 42. Like your character is going to have to take a bath every so often.
The shower, yeah.
Or else,
shower,
especially if you're going to captain larger ships, like your AI crew is going to respond to you depending on how much you smell.
Also, your contacts. Going and walking up to if you're because they already have degradation levels that they're adding in 3.2, I believe, or 3.3, like where it's like breakdowns. So that's the same with your character. Your character is going to have a level of clean, slightly dirty, and fucking filthy. You know,
component wear is already in the game if we're talking about that.
Yeah, but I mean, like your character will also have its own component wear. It's just the same system. Just you don't have maybe even CIG is crazy about this like fidelity shit. So they may actually see like dirt on your face because Chris Roberts wants to see the filth on you, so you can see yourself in the mirror and be like, I am
the blood of 1,000 enemies.
I just go through and murder people and never clean myself up.
Yeah, I was gonna say Madness is gonna be that dude, like he's gonna the murder hopo, so like he's gonna like be walking through Port Alsar and he's gonna be, like blood splattered across his face. He's like
covered in snow,
buddy.
Covered in snowflakes.
About that, but just the other day I did the Bruto mission, the clean up the corpse mission.
Yeah.
I'm walking into All-Star with this fucking box covered in blood, just watching people as they walk past me. I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? I'm setting it up on the counter.
Nosebleed. It's all good, don't worry.
But that's what the Moby glass is for, so you don't have to wash. You contact everybody for a Moby glass. Smell me now, bitch.
So I mean, that's one of those things that's such a late game addition that they're going to worry about that it's.
Oh no, that's coming sooner than you think. I guarantee
probably, but it's super easy to implement in comparison to like network bind culling. It's like that shit is.
I suppose it's easy to put in, probably maybe a bit harder for things to react to it potentially, but because they've got to program everything for it. But yeah.
Well, I mean, they've been moving like the FPS. Like this week, the FPS AI went a lot faster than I thought it was.
I mean,
considering the last one of the last ATVs, they showed how derpy AI was.
I love that.
Like you walk in and there's an AI facing the wall and you shoot it and it's like, what? I'm gonna fire everywhere except for the person because I got shot.
You don't realise that wasn't AI. That was just like me sitting in the corner.
That was,
That's
do you
how
know,
I play any FPS game. It's like someone shoots me. What the fuck? Wait.
we did talk about it last week. It was very funny, like dominoes effect, like lining up NPCs to create like mass murder in a canteen somewhere. So just perched in the corner miles away, you just get your sniper rifle out. Bit like in Train Spotting when he shoots the dog in the ass and then it bites the guy. That's literally what you'll be doing with an NPC, just sitting really far back with a sniper rifle, just waiting for the perfect shot, talking like Sean Connery, and then just like boom, and then just like every old shit goes crazy.
No, I also
that would
don't
be fun.
think that someone was just like, I want all to be loading screens. I don't want to do it on my own. It's like it'll be like you go in, you click a button that says shower, and you step in and you go like,
no, you're gonna have to scrub yourself,
and then you'll see your character like turn off the water, and step out. It'll be like a 30-second animation is what it will be. It's not gonna be something that they're gonna
don't drop the soap. That's all I'm saying.
Well, they can always do it like Metal Gear Solid 5, where you see your character enter the shower unit and then step out covered in water, and then suddenly you're dry a half second later.
Yeah,
like
it's honestly going to be stuff like that. We're not going to see something ridiculous at the.
No.
Like I don't even think
is it going to be like The Sims where you get
pixelated?
Pixelated.
Marquee.
No, that's where the dong slider comes in. The Star Citizen dong slider.
Oh God, we're talking about that too. It should be based off. It should be procedurally generated. It's the seed for your dong. Should generate
We're going into rust levels of detail.
Paul knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I honestly would be okay with rust levels of procedural generation for characters. Like, you have no control over who you are. You come into the game, now suddenly you're a 6 foot tall black woman. You know? Like,
I've got a new thing. They need to have the dong over IP so that you can you can film yourself and then control the digital version in the game.
Then they can have like
Twitch.
And then they can have.
We're totally not breaking tiers of service right now.
What is it that didn't they have that?
Education. It's satire. It's satire.
They can do it like they did with the other citizens, right? You scan their face in, you can have your dong scanned in, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't want to see Matt's penis, please. I don't want to see Matt's or Maya's penis.
Just stand there like that. Do it now. Scan me in. It looks bigger on this. It looks bigger on the screen than in real life.
Question is, how many cameras would they need if it's only 50 for your face?
You'd be like, is that all it took?
Too many wrinkles.
Oh my God, the fun you can have. But honestly, I do think that regarding the animations and stuff and the showering stuff, just keep it to the role play type of ships, like the 600 and the kind of the cruise. Like I don't really want to be in my saber dogfighting, and it's suddenly my character's shaking, and then I hear as the pilot's just pissed in his suit. Like
I really don't want bathroom like peeing and pooping to be a thing in Star Citizen. Because that's kind of ridiculous. Like I understand showers. I understand showers. Like if you're in a saber for like a week flying around killing things and you come back to port, you're gonna fucking reek. So someone's gonna be like, dude, just showers over there. Just go fucking take a shower. That's 30 seconds, and while other things are going on, you can do that. And I even don't want the stuff your face food simulator where like you need to eat food. I'd rather have it just be like, hey, there's food in your hold, so you have to have food. And then as you're going along, that food is decreasing because your character is eating it or whatever. Whenever that way you don't have explorers be like, I don't have to pull shit. I only need fuel in myself to go out into the middle of nowhere and come back with billions of credits worth of information and other things. Like, no. You need to have something that tiers that long range that you have.
So if you're going to be in like one of those news vans that just goes into space in the middle of nowhere and you first contact with alien race, they're just going to go, what? The fuck?
What the fuck are you doing? Like we would have had contact with the Tavaran or the Kurthak, but it had to be
smelt us and fucking
up in his Aurora, being like, "Hi guys." He's like, "Oh man, the humans are just fucking disgusting." Nah, man, we ain't taking this shit.
We're not dealing with them.
So, talking of things we don't like as well, this is something I also am not sure about. I'm not going to rule out
into the glass now. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so talking of things like now, this is an interesting. Like I think I can't remember where I saw some. I don't know if I really like to have my view fucked around with too much. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh, they're going to double down on this. You have the ship's cockpit plus your helmet.
I just worry. Like it's such it's already a shit show in terms of so many like glare. Like I wonder, are they implementing this tech? Do you think in order to be able to give us more options like shaders and be able to do like IR and all the different type of things, or is this just purely polish for the sake of fucking polish? I just wonder.
Glass effects has always been awful.
It's probably both.
I mean, to me, it's like there's just too far. Like the glass effects they showed you on that dome thing that was really nice, but like I get the realism, but sometimes it's like the gameplay versus realism. Like they know that the fun factor, and if you start blurring vision, and I suppose they probably want it so they can mist it up and stuff. Like, but.
I mean, it's like all your
after a while.
Screenshots gone.
I think, oh, this is really good, and then it's
bye desktop. Bye desktops. Constantly in Photoshop touching up. Poor people will be like, oh, I've got to keep touching up because there's a tiny smear line going down the left-hand side of my fucking screen.
Take your helmet off.
Yeah.
Screen. Take a photo. Put it back on.
Oh, there you go.
Shaking violently as you're about. Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I think I hope they test it and
it's too far.
And somebody says it is a space game.
I can understand some things like Explorer suits having different like shaders on the helmets that you can activate because like you're on a planet that's close to the sun and you have like if you just have normal glass and you step out and suddenly the sun rises, you're just like, oh my eyes, I cannot see. Like the goggles, they do nothing. Actually having like a
because all scientists are German.
Yes, all scientists are German.
All explorers are German.
Yes.
But that's a practical excuse to have it, which is fine. I think. I think not having an actual reason for it, but just because it makes
it just time
like this.
But I feel like I feel like this is just for the sake of doing it, which is just kind of stupid. Just don't do it.
It's like even now when I wear sunglasses, I get to the point where it's like I don't want the sun in my eyes, but I also get fed up with wearing sunglasses. It's kind of it's going to be like that. It's like we don't want this. Come on, why are you wasting your time on it? I mean, what would be cooler is to show that you've got a helmet on. Would be the holographic HUD that we've had before that comes up and you can see information on. That will let you know that you're wearing a helmet. We don't need to see glass in front of our face to get that. I mean, we've already got that. I mean, we've had so many complaints. Surely they've learned from like the Starfarer and things like when you can't see out the window because it's so dirty and smudged. It's like someone fucking cleaned the glass.
Like Brillo pad, it's all scratched and smudged. This is like the sun, and that's the problem on all the maps in Arena Commander in a ship. Like there's certain parts. It just starts in. I just keep going back to the same complaint. Star Citizen has a problem with light and color, and sometimes it gets so bad you can't see shit because. In Star Marine, the orange blends in with certain parts of the map, and you can't see the enemies. You lose track of them. In Arena Commander, you get certain parts of the map. You can't see anybody. The 3D targeting reticle disappears into the surrounding light. You try to go landing on Delamar, and go try to landing on Daymar, and your constellation, the HUD disappears as soon as you get down into the light side. It's just amazingly bad. And then they want to add glass effects to the cockpit. They want to add glass effects to the cockpit helmet, to your flight helmet, and you pull the trigger on your guns, you can't see nothing because of glare. And it's just you got two different types of glare. You got the glare from your cockpit, you got the glare in your helmet. It's just please stop. Please.
Yeah, can you also here's the thing as well, because we all know, we talked about it the other day about spaceships in terms of they always overlight the inside. We said this last night. I said like they overlight the inside of the cockpit, so everything is just booming with light, and then the outside is pitch black. So all that happens is if they implement this type of shader system, could you imagine the reflections? You're going to just see yourself and your cockpit in the glass.
You see the reflection of your fucking you'll just see the glare from your instruments. You can't see nothing outside.
It's just going to be awful. So if they implement this type of technology, so I'm just like,
well, I will say this, Red Dawn. I am completely with you because he says like it's almost as like they can't do anything. This is a good example of where they show something off and the community is like, this is stupid, don't do it. So now CIG has a chance to go, oh, this is stupid. We probably shouldn't do this. Rather than spend hours to put it into the game and then we're stuck with it, because.
It was too late. We haven't said anything. CIG to go off that. CIG has extended great clemency to the community and just and what they've done. You look at the whole cut list, how the cut list turned out, and how it is right now. That's great. Great applause for CIG. One of the best ships in the game. In fact, I highly recommend anybody who wants to get in.
Super.
Tell us. It wasn't always that way. Same thing with the Mustang getting updated. The Avenger coming to update. Yeah, we don't know about the new one just yet.
Don't know about the new one yet.
I like it. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean,
it's difficult, but getting the balance between people giving constructive feedback, saying that this really isn't good, and just people bitching about everything. But I do think that generally, I mean, how CIG work it out is like the level of response they get from something.
Yeah.
And this sort of thing, it's like when they were talking about it, it's like, oh, this is cool. We've added this. It's so much more realistic. Yeah, it is more realistic. Well done. However, it's for gameplay side of things, it's shit. It's not what we want, and they need to know that so that they don't waste time on it. Really.
There's a difference.
Not it's shit. It could be shit. This could be shit. We don't. I'm not saying. I'm not going to come out like we're just saying. We're just saying. Look, we have a slight concerns based on these reasons. It's like I'm always like Miz said it. It's about having the criticizing with a reason. Like I'm saying, I'm worried about this because of too much lighting that currently exists will cause way too much. It's already hard enough seeing shit as it is sometimes when you're in the thick of something. Adding lots of glare. I mean, anyone's seen the Gladius cockpit back in the day, the sun is glaring, you can't see anything, and it's just, we worry that you'll just have so much effects throwing all over the place that you can't.
I mean, it's
distracting and annoying.
It's very similar to the struts that they had in the ship style. I mean, how many people said, what the fuck have you put great big struts through the middle for? We want to see, and they're like, oh, people want to see out the window, how funny. Right, okay, we'll remove the struts then. And then everyone's like, fuck me, this is amazing.
There's a difference between, like, I've seen so many people complain about, like, the work in progress trees. It's like, the trees, work in progress. We know that they're going to change things around. Bitching about trees and their current.
It's pointless.
It's like they're trees.
Of course, they look ugly right now because it's now.
Yeah, like, but this is a gameplay affecting thing. Trees are going to affect you. The fact that they're copy pasta trees all over the place isn't going to affect your gameplay. It may affect your immersion, but
my
like
sweet immersion.
I would complain about trees, Paul, if I didn't know that they were using the tree tech that's in The Witcher and many other games. The fact that I know they've got that, it makes me not worried in the slightest because I know they're using a fantastic.
And it's a first test and that kind of stuff. This one is a little weird because this is fixing something that wasn't broken. Yeah. Or fixing something that is broken in a way that will break it more rather than fixing it in a way that will help out the players in general.
This is adding an effect designed to increase immersion that will have real gameplay consequences for all players.
So there's a balance. This is great, and thank you for showing it to us, CIG.
Yeah.
And please continue to show work in progress, but know that there's a difference, and I think they even know there's a difference between people going bit mission and people going, this is gonna break gameplay. Like some serious concerns about gameplay with this. So sorry, I saw someone in the comments or someone in chat comment this, and I think it's important to like denote there's a difference between the two. It's important.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there's lots of people, like I said, to just whine for nothing, and then there's like trying to make the game better, which is what we want. Isn't it? We don't want it to be shit.
Yeah. No, we are here. I mean, I'm concierge. I don't know if anyone else is here as concierge as well. We've all invested. We all back this game. We do a podcast about it. We love this. We believe in it. But we always try our best to do constructive criticism wherever possible. And sometimes, yes, we just I do throw salt at people's faces just because.
sometimes Madness is just salty.
Just salty. But generally, it has a reason. It always has a reason. And I do change my mind if proven wrong. So this is the Armour.
Asylum, salt
exactly. The clue is in the name, right? It's in the name. So the Armour. So this is the ATV. This is the kind of the meat of the kind of the ATV this week. I'm not going to go. We don't go over all ATVs that closely. We just cherry pick bits that are interesting. The Armour, the legacy Armour. The fact that it's kind of like it's like old is new but being made to look old.
Well, this was interesting actually on the ATV because you've been saying quite a few times that you don't like the legacy stuff, or at least some of them. Like, this doesn't look right, you know. And what's interesting is actually that the legacy Armour is, like they were saying, is that this is pre what we've got now. So it's meant to be more low tech, meant to be more custom. So in some ways it's fine to not like it. I don't know. I kind of don't know why they're going back. They did say it's because of like the armor they got now needs to be changed and modular, but why they went right back to the old style stuff, I'm not sure.
I still don't know
just
why
remaking what they've got. But
why didn't they just remake what we knew? Why didn't they remake what we already had? That's legacy to many of the backers. That's old. That's like history pieces. So why not make that?
It's probably Chris Roberts. That's probably Chris Roberts came down and says people played with these armors, and they said it in the ATV. People played with these armors. They recognize these armors. We're gonna take them. We're gonna make them new again, and we're putting them in the game, and that's it.
The reason why they did it was because the way that they did the initial armors was just them putting shit together.
Yeah.
They just needed shit to put out there so people can play it. It was the Band-Aid approach. And when they came back to actually look at it, they're like, well, fuck, this is all broken. It doesn't work with other armors. It's like everything doesn't work. And they have a chance, and this is one thing I really, really wanted to I'll give kudos for CIG for, is that they're starting to think of ways that they can take gameplay and put story in the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that each of these armors was an older armor that was made years before and is still being sold is similar to like if I go into an Army Navy surplus store right now, I can buy camo from the 1980s that's not used by the U.S. military anymore, but you see people wearing it all the time. You can buy gear and equipment that's from hiking camping stores that are 20 years old. It still works, still does its purpose, and sometimes it's cheaper. Or some people like to wear it because it looks cool. Whatever, it's that kind of concept, and it adds a little bit of a history. Like these things are not state of the art; they're old, they're run down. But you can buy them because they're cool.
I'm not agreeing with Madness in that respect. I do agree in terms of I like the fact that they've gone back because it gives them a history to then work on. So they can you can see that armor that's then going to get upgraded and get better over time. So you can see this is the first iteration of it. This is when we designed and got more technology. We made this better. And
they also have to meet manufacturing guidelines. Like for instance, all of the old Outlaw armors were made by Castak Arms. And Castak Arms has its own style guide. Like the new medium and the new light Outlaw are both Castak Arms as well. So they have to have some sort of this is what it used to be. The dude with
and they wanted that
face and the eyes. Now we want to make it look old and retro, so we're going to pull some of the patches off and make it look like this is the first draft of that kind of thing. So
I when I first saw the drawing and the concept and the talk about it, they kept the red eyes from the original one. I was kind of I was hopeful. I saw the drawings, and I thought they looked cool. There's some pictures of. Hang on, let me just see if I've got some of the drawings. Let's just see if I've got it here. Sorry, I'm just gonna. Is it here? No, that's not here. Of course, it's not. Talk amongst yourselves. Hang on, wait 2 seconds.
No, you want to hear my opinions on the legacy Marine armors? Looks like every Marine armor ever made, like Halo.
Oh, here we go. See now, when I saw this shit, honestly, holy fuck, I was excited.
That's cool. This
looks fucking cool, man. This is cool.
The full face closures,
This is cool. Yeah. I see this, and I'm the UE armor for that. The leather. That's just this. I want to see more of this, and I want to see.
I think I got an image on my hard drive here. I can send you.
Hang on, a shit ton less. I want to see a shit ton less of fucking Halo.
I know.
What the? But I kind of I get. Well, I get what Ms. I don't mind having lots of armor. I mean, having more armor to choose from is great. I like the fact that this is on modular and they got bits, and it's it's really going to be cool. And when I saw the Boba Fett bit pan in, I was just like, yes, oh yes, fantastic gloves, beautiful arm, belt, utility, cape. I was sold, and then I saw the helmet, but then I was like, but that's not the legacy armor that I know. That's not the bit. I just feel like they could have easily had this one and the original kind of one, a bit more to the original that we originally had, and that's the legacy, and that's. It just feels like it's kind of like, well, I feel like we've been. I know it's aesthetic. It's a personal choice. I get that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, the other one wasn't legacy armor. It was just armor. This is legacy armor. The other one was just armor that was made for that time to chuck out.
I just feel like it would be kind of a story. Like in my head, maybe they should. Maybe they'll have the armor. Maybe they'll bring it back and they'll put it lying around in a museum or something for us to kind of. Yeah, but I just as developers and as being part of the game from this stage going forward, I sometimes feel like they've got a real opportunity to just leave bits for us to be able to talk about and be able to enjoy when the game goes, even more so with people. And then people will be like, just little memories. Does that make sense? That'll go live into the game. And I just feel like when they start taking things and then completely reworking them and making it completely different and just saying, oh, it's got the red eyes, it isn't enough for me. I feel like it would have been cool if they just kept it as the original pieces and then done more next to them.
I mean, I understand why they changed the style up. It has a lot to do with consistency and lore, but it also has to do with like how everything looks. Now, I agree. I've heard so many people say like the original Light Outlaw was baller as shit, and everybody loved it, and they wanted to keep it. So maybe they'll come back and just make the original Outlaw and make it in a way that they could work with everybody else.
Sort of rework it to make it more modular. That's all they mean. You know, that's like all they need to do. I mean, I'm not. That's what they kind of need to do is work out a way to make it modular. But that's the problem. If they can't make it modular without it looking shit, that's why they won't do it. And that's the issue they have, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, I love the fact that they're bringing more textures in. I like the fact that they're bringing the leathers and the canvases and all that. I think that's fantastic, and the fact that this is all coming in as well for 3.2 is very, very cool. Very cool. This is where then it does mean they really do need to tighten up that economy and the ability for us to make money to be able to and sensibly price these items of clothing, because I'm broke. I've got no money anymore because the game crashes too much.
Nobody does.
I can't buy shit. I can barely spawn my ships now, and it's just kind of. Because I don't make any money. I can't make any money. I cannot make enough money anymore. So I'm just like, I'm literally a poor person looking at all these clothes going, yay. I can't buy. It's like real life. I'm like, I have that in real life. I don't want that in real life. I want to be rich in a computer game so I can enjoy it. But yeah, I saw this, and whoever did this, I don't know if it was Jay Lee or whoever drew this, please make this as the advocacy kind of badass armor, please.
Really wanted that helmet closure. That was so many people really like that idea. Just badass.
I said to Jay Lee when I had an interview with him. He was on he was at Oxford in the morning. He just happened to be up, and we had a nice long chat about stuff. And I was chatting to him, and I said to him, I asked him the question. I said, if you were to look at Star Citizen's armor, what is it? What is the pieces that make it unique to Star Citizen? What is the armor? What is that kind of like? If you think of like Halo has a look about its armor. It has a look about its styling. When I think of Star Citizen's gear, I still struggle to find anything that kind of just gives me. Now, maybe that's a good. Makes it unique, and maybe that's a good thing, but it doesn't have it.
To counter that is they did kind of say in RTV this week is that they don't want that to a certain degree because they don't want people wearing the same armor. So in that respect, there shouldn't be a certain look that makes it Star Citizen.
And there should be
everybody to be completely different. And so there
should be RoboCop. There should be
you think so? Okay.
The Expanse. There should be Halo. There should be all of them should be in there. Like we should see like freaking Starship Troopers style armor at some point in there as well too, or something that's inspired by it. Why? Because then you have no unique armor, because it's like when you think of WoW, is there an armor that you think about in WoW?
Yeah,
I never played WoW.
You don't want everybody that's going exploring to have just one explorer suit. You don't want everybody that's going to go into a battle to have just one heavy armor suit. You want that complete mix of being. You're not going to be unique, but
because
at least different.
And the reason why they want people to have their own unique or at least individual styles is because it's an MMO, and fashion is the metagame, the second metagame of every MMO.
Yes. Yeah,
fashion citizen.
It is. I mean, 100%. It's
which is why some of the RTV was quite disappointing to me in terms of like they said about like not being able to dye the armor and things like that. It's like you're gonna have set colors. So in other words, as long as they've made enough of the armor in certain colors, that's how you're gonna get your color thing. They did also mention about like someone asked if they'd be able to have the org colors, and apart from them making enough of that armor that you could make your orc colors, you won't be able to just go, right, well, I want to dye it so that it matches my orc colors, which I think is a bit of a shame, really. But yeah,
it's a mass. Well, we talked about this. Like, they could monetize the option That's the thing is in my head is that if they wanted to make a good amount of money, they could monetize.
Like most MMOs have had an armor dye where you can dye your armors the same color.
But that was I mean that was one of the things that I was talking about where they point blank and said no, this pretty much isn't going to happen. We've made 21 variant colors in this armor, therefore you can make anything you want. No, you can't. You can't match the colors. However, that was the point that Jared then turned around and said, completely backtracked and said, but this is development and the things can change. So. Although that's what they're saying, there is kind of probably a point where they're like, well, if we can do it, we still want to do this because it's a huge thing. Like I think I agree with Paul. It's like the clothing is like the next best thing. Once you've done all the trading and everything else, it's like, well, I want to get the outfit that I want to look like. It's certainly always been up there from what I want to do.
When I
play MMOs. Easily.
When I put a gun to the head of a drug runner and tell him to pay me money, I want him to remember what I look like. You know, I want that. I want that. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to.
Anyways, madness.
Because they remember what you look like, and they're going to hunt you down because you're like, that's the dude who put a gun in my face. You know, that's cool.
Gameplay.
As crazy as it sounds, that's cool. It's gameplay.
Does anyone remember the? I mean, I've said it before, but the cartoon Misc.
Yeah.
The 80s show cartoon. Yeah, cartoon Misc. I saw this helmet and I was remembered. I think his name was Venom. I think it was the guy who flew the helicopter chopper. He was the main bad guy in it. I think it was. Anyway, this guy's helmet just reminded me so much of the guy from Misc. So I was really excited when I saw this again. I was like, yes, I want that. I want that in the game. It's awesome. But no, I think that's a good answer. That's a really good answer. And I think, you know, it's definitely kind of like swayed my kind of view on it. I'm like, maybe I don't need to have. Maybe that's the whole point. The whole point is that you create, which I think is probably better thinking about it, the ability to have your own style, your own flavor, and command your own with more choices. And that's what they're going for with the modularity, which is kind of cool. I like that. It makes it more unique to myself. So that's going to be sweet. That's going to be very cool.
Yeah.
Let's see if we've got anything else from ATV that was really good. The pubs, wasn't it? There was the pub. Hang on. Did we get that one? No.
Oh yeah. The Hurston and the Littlebitofmadness.
Littlebitofmadness.
I remember the name of it now. My mind is fried.
I think I've got it here.
Was it Lorville?
Yeah, I got it here. So this was showed us the
it's the AstroPub.
The AstroPub. Yeah, sorry, I've got there.
You just need to get his logo in game. That's all.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's a placeholder until the AstroPub's logo gets put in. It's.
Oh, you're talking about the bad bar.
Yeah.
We're talking about the shitty bar that has three fucking stools on it.
3 stools.
Yeah.
That's my kind of bar, though. I'm going to be honest. Like, when I'm in,
you want to go to a bar that has three seats. Yeah. You're just going to sit there.
Standing remotely. They got a hell of a dance floor.
In London, if you like Friday night in London, at like kind of in like if you're in Liverpool Street or whatever, you're going to be standing there. You ain't going to be able to have a jolly little sit down. It's kind of pretty normal.
Listen, Madness, I'm not saying that you won't be able to be at this bar because I'm going to burn it down. I'm just saying, don't expect the bar to be there when I come around. That's all.
When you come around. Oh, okay, I see. I want to be. To be fair, I'm going to be in the Astro bar all the time.
Put more seats down, and then it'll just be the
Astro. I could, but I have to be making money from it.
Maybe they had seats there, but they all got stolen because it is, you know,
it's Hurston. You know,
it's no longer Big Benny Hunt. It's literally let's just nick the bar stools and load them up in the back of the car.
You got the hoodlums getting loose, stealing all the bar stools.
Listen,
what do you think?
Listen, I'm not saying I'm going to run the bar like a mob bar. I'm just saying don't expect to have any other bars.
Do you think is this? Do you think
stools?
This is a crane, right? This is a crane in the background. And this is the claw, as it were?
The claw.
The claw. The claw.
It chooses.
So do you think we'll be able to use it?
It's someone playing one of those like arcade, you know, where you get the fluffy teddy at the bottom. This is like trying to get the grip.
I know, right? Yeah. It's basically underneath it is a reclaimer and it's laughing at it going, this is what a claw really does. Lucky. Good luck getting your claw to work, sucker. But I just kind of think that. Do you think we'll be able to get in this and make it work? Do you think we'll industrial?
I think it's all just for
props.
visuals.
I think eventually some of these things will be usable, but I think that's down the line.
Sometime.
Yeah.
Eventually.
It'd be nice to see them moving, loading, unloading stuff. Kind of like those giant structures at Levski. Those big things. I have no idea what those are for.
Those big mining drills. The drills.
Okay.
Yeah, they're supposed
I
to.
thought they were
drills.
like docks for like cargo ships or something.
No, they're supposed to be giant drills that are used for like for some reason. Like I think they're modeled off of like oil rigs. That's what they're supposed to look like. So apparently, Levski is full of oil.
Yeah,
must be very dense oil with the considering how heavy his gravity is.
Yes.
And I think there was a few other bits to do with the scanning. I don't know if you guys saw the scanning.
Very, very tiny little snippet.
So
here's scanning
tiny.
Progress.
It's so Hellion. I like it. It's so very Hellion.
I haven't played Hellion yet.
Anyone who's not seen this is so Hellion. Notice how like it's obviously like in developer mode, but like that's how scanning works is like where you scan and then there's like a region that you'll see like you'll be able to see like little areas of where there's a point of interest where you can go to, like, oh, there's an object there. And the closer you get to the object, the clearer the scan's going to be. So you can actually see, oh, there's something over there. I'm going to go over there. And as you're going there, you can scan again, and then you can see where the object is moved and all that kind of stuff.
The Matrix is real.
I like it. No, I like this type of mechanics as a good starter, as a very beginning for everything.
And the fact that it is similar to Hellion, I like that. I like, the other games shouldn't be scared of looking at other games and going, "Oh, that works really well. Let's implement something similar."
I don't doubt. I doubt that that the developers are looked at Hellion and did this. I think they just both came from the same concept of like.
Yeah, but the other devs, they have said before they look at other games, and I've played other MMOs where they seem to have never played another MMO before, and it's like, seriously, go and do some research before you make a game because you're missing so many elements. So I hope that they do see games like that we've played and actually are doing quite well, and think, oh yeah, I like that angle that they're taking on it.
They did say that if there's a technology in place, that they're kind of adopting a philosophy of like, well, if it fits, like we'll use it type of thing, rather than just, which is I don't really believe, if I'm being honest, but I hope they do.
We'll take it and then we'll change it so that it's our own thing. So we're not really.
We've got to reinvent the wheel for everything.
We're not really taking it, but we are taking it. But we're not. But we are. But we're not.
We are.
So we have another question actually, which is an interesting one. It's I don't know if any of you guys know about the game from Bethesda. Potentially, it was like rumored.
Bethesda.
Starfield.
And the question is, it's from Mr. Squarepeg, and he says, what do you guys think about the Bethesda Softworks project Starfield could be, or what do you think it could be? I think it's a space-based action RPG. That's what he thinks. What do you? Let's go to the normal window. Sorry.
I think it's going to be Fallout 3 with guns.
Fallout
or spaceship.
Spaceship. I was going to say Fallout had guns, didn't it? I'm pretty sure I had guns.
Fallout 3 was Oblivion with guns.
That was the joke. That was the joke.
It was true. It's true. It was true. It was Oblivion with guns, but it was not a bad thing. And I think that, and I think you're right. It's going to be Fallout 4 with spaceships, and it's not going to be a bad thing. I don't think there's a lot of rumors that it's an MMO or that it's a multiplayer game. And the problem is that we have no fucking idea what the actual truth is. We do know that they've tried to make a single player. We do know that Bethesda has a hard-on for single-player games, and they love RPGs. And we know they've been trying to make a space sci-fi MMO.
Don't call what Bethesda produces an RPG. Like
they used to.
They make a sandbox. Okay, I'll give them that. They make a good sandbox that's a playground. Oblivion showed them how to make an RPG with New Vegas.
Think about it though.
Yeah. Yes,
think about it though. Think about it though, right, guys? Like Starfield, Anthem. Beyond Good or Evil 2.
You're also missing what Obsidian
what's it called?
Actually
Obsidian
recently too. Obsidian
just Cyberpunk 2077 as well. Just throwing it in there as well.
Yeah, that's it. No, but Obsidian is also possibly making a space game called The Outer Worlds.
It's back. Space games everywhere. They're back. Space games are science fiction. Is back. It's not dead anymore.
It's not a dead genre anymore. It's back.
Yay.
Well, I mean, I kind of like and these games will be. Like I don't have to pay. I don't have to. Yeah, going to be big competitors, and I'm not going to have to pay £1,000 to play that. To kind of. I'm not going to have the memories.
You didn't have to pay £1,000 to play Star Madness.
Correct.
My hope.
But I'm just.
My God, hope beyond hope is that some of these games coming out are going to stick a jalapeno up the ass of CIG, and they're going to start pumping out stuff a lot faster.
I hope so too.
Instead of doing this song and dance, if we have the right to make things better. Eventually, someone's going to go, fuck, we need to finish combat. And so they're going to sit down and actually work on it because they've got competitors, and people are going to be like, why should I spend $45 in a game that's never coming out when I can go buy $60 buy Starfield and have endless mod support?
Right.
Bethesda.
No one has gone after, in my head yet, properly has actually gone after the combat space sim game yet.
Yeah, I mean,
no one's gone after
Call of Duty Infinite War tried, and they kind of have this really kind of watered down. They could have made a multiplayer game mode out of that single player space combat if they tried a little bit harder. But nobody's gone after the PvP. Like Elite Dangerous tried with their shitty little arena, but that's Elite Dangerous combat. I mean, Elite Dangerous is not known for its combat, in my opinion.
Space Truck and Sim.
Nope.
Euro Truck Space Sim. Euro Truck Sim in space.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to remember what other games were known for their combat, their space game PvP. Independence War 2 tried it with the multiplayer, which was kind of interesting, but I don't remember any serious spaceships versus spaceships, like actually piloting.
X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
X-Wing versus TIE Fighter was the kind of back in the day as well.
It was always PvE. The PvP existed, but it was never really well done.
Yeah.
You know.
So here's my. I've always curious is like back in the day when I was playing these type of things, there was a couple games. You know what I mean, there wasn't just one. There was a few competitors, like we just mentioned, TIE Fighter, Wing Commander, and there was another one that I can't remember. I'm sure there was. Anyway, but those were the two main ones anyway that I played, and I just wonder is at some point if there will be a studio that's going to go after that as well, and will really like and could do it better. I just wonder
if Starfield exists, because we don't know if it's even going to be announced or if it's going to be released. There's a lot of theories that it is, but we don't know. If it exists and it is a success like Fallout 4 was, even though Fallout 4 is not considered as good of a game as other games, if it's a financial success, I wouldn't like. EA has Wing Commander. They have the license to Wing Commander. They've been sitting on it. And EA is looking for some redemption. They've been looking for redemption road with things like doing their best to like stepping away. So they
could you imagine that?
EA always does this though. They always go through years of where like 5 years they're the worst company in the world because they want nothing but the souls of your firstborn children, and then 5 years they're like, well, but we're so sorry. We're sorry.
We're sorry.
So we're going to bring Wing Commander. I think they're waiting. Honestly, I think they're waiting to see what happens with Star. They're waiting for Star Citizen to make that. Maybe that's the reason why Star Citizen keeps making combat shit, because they don't want to do it really well or to show that it's really popular. Because if it becomes really popular, they make it free to play, like we all talked about and stuff. They could. It could encourage. Maybe that's I love this show because I love just talking about things and coming to conclusions.
Maybe that's the thing. That too. Bethesda can say, listen,
anybody could do it.
Science fiction is back, and the space combat genre, because more than likely we're going to see some sort of space combat in Starfield if all the rumors to be true.
Yes, Battlefront did it too. Battlefront PvP, space PvP, multiplayer. Battlefront did that. I think it had a specific game mode.
2, even though it's a horrible thing, its space combat mode is fucking amazing. I think
it was just the loot boxes everybody was latching onto in Battlefront.
That was the problem. Is that Battlefront was a good game. Battlefront 2 was a good, fun game that had a problem because it was all loot box progression bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why people disliked it, because it's like you have a good game that was really well made that you decided to throw loot boxes in because you wanted to make all the money.
Too far. Loot boxes that went too far.
So, but I mean, then again, if like EA is proven that they can do fun arcadey, if not somewhat sim game style, and if Bethesda Starfield works well, it could easily poke a lot of the AAA devs to start looking into it more often. Yeah. And if they poke it, if they poke, EA's got Wing Commander. They've been sitting on it.
They pull an Activision and make Call of Duty what was it? What did I call it? Call of Duty Battlefield Royale, or whatever. The new Call of Duty is going to be essentially Fortnite or something.
Yeah, one of the modes is
Yeah. We're behind the curve. Trust me, that's exactly where you want to be to make all the money. You're like right behind the curve.
Chris Roberts sells Star Citizen CIG to EA Games.
Yeah.
Eat shit. Oh my God! Don't even. Oh Jesus Christ!
Don't do it. Don't do
Nightmare moment. Everyone's like, the tears. Don't make it have a madness. But I mean, you know, who's to say he could be like, well, fuck
you.
You
can probably threaten that. And
I'm selling it to EA.
Probably
exactly.
You could probably put out
it's just like a sort of one of those like adverts. Sort of. Well, it looks like we've got no choice, guys. Money's run out. We're going to have to sell to EA unless
we make another 100 million on the Kickstarter. Donate to my GoFundMe.
Press this button today.
Everybody be like, here's my credit card. Here's my credit card. Here's my card. Here's access to my entire life savings. Just don't sell it to EA. No, I'm sure he wouldn't do that. But God, no. But that's interesting that they have Wing Commander though. That's really interesting. They have Wing Commander. It's not. That should be a like you said, a fire under their asses to just get.
They also have X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. They have X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Oh, they've got that. Yeah.
They have both of those licenses.
And that's what kills me about EA. They have so much. They have so many IPs, and they're doing nothing with it. Command and Conquer, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Wing Commander, they're just sitting on it.
Yeah, but that's what they do, isn't it? They do wait for the cycle where it's like, well, this is popular now. Bang, let's knock that out. Well, why wouldn't they? That's exactly what they do. So it's like we know we're a good few years away from Star Citizen, so they might be testing the waters a little bit, getting some ideas going. You wouldn't hear anything about it anyway.
And the reality is that every time a serious competitor for Star Citizen comes up, you notice that CIG starts getting its ass in gear motivated. Like people were talking about how Hellion is a Star Citizen killer, and suddenly that month you saw a lot of activity from CIG trying to convince people to stay, and then you saw people talking about No Man's Sky is a killer, and you had a lot of big show, like I mean the entirety of Gamescom that was basically where they showed off 2.0 or 3.0 for the first time, like in 2016, was them entirely just smacking No Man's Sky in the face. Multiplayer. That's another player. That's another player. That's another player. That's another player. You can see him. See, he's doing flips. That's another player. It's real time. Multiplayer.
He's not a dog.
Multiplayer. You know, that was an entirely like just repeated nut shots to No Man's Sky because they fucked up so hard in that release.
But I mean, that's a good question in terms of like, do you think that Star Citizen are trying to pull people in like too early?
Yeah,
like, because we've mentioned about people that I think keep pushing it and saying let's get people in, but we're the ones sort of saying look, it's not ready yet. Like, do you think that they're pushing far too early to get these people in, and that's why we're getting all this trollage and all this like not impressed with it, because it's like, why are you pushing so hard
every
to get
summer
people in when you're not ready for it?
Remember the Hello Kitty. I'm sorry, the
Star Kitten
like recruitment drive. Remember the original.
Jesus.
The original
get more backers, and
they all have happened in the summer, the very beginning of the summer. It's always the case. They're always trying to pull in new players during the summer, and I think it's because the summer is a lull period for everybody, for all gaming and stuff like that. It's a lull period. People spend their money on going to vacations instead of digital starships. So
I feel like they're harming themselves.
Rightly so.
Of course they are.
Trying to pull people in like that way just to make the quick money or the quick referrals.
I've had problems with CIG
marketing anyway.
I've had problems with CIG marketing and stuff like that for a long time. They seem to be thinking too short term rather than long term. But
that's two completely different companies. Like it feels like the development side is very open, very forthcoming, and the marketing side is like this black box that just is incomprehensible. Like, why are you doing this now? This is not the time to do this now. The game's not. The development is not there now. Stop doing this.
Yeah. Another question has come through is what do you guys think has been the biggest blockade for you all as devs?
As devs?
My biggest blocker.
Someone made a joke. Someone actually asked us if we were devs in chat, and
that's from Nolly. I think that's from Nolly.
Yeah, and Vertigo made a joke saying yes, and I think Nolly actually told us we're not devs.
Sorry,
in
mate.
any way, shape, or form.
I'm a shooter.
Serious.
I'll tell you what I am. I'm a professional shoe designer. I've done that for the last 14 years.
So
I've done visual effects for films as well. That's my
Vertigo actually has a lot of experience because he was in tech development.
Yes, I was in tech development, hardware mostly. It was being a mechanic for 10 years.
Were you a mechanic? I thought you said you worked on a like a software department.
We've all played games for 30+ years, though. I think.
Yeah, we've all played games for years.
That's for sure.
I'll tell you what Little Bit of Madness's biggest blocker is his wife, and mine is her ability to say no. So.
Wow.
So that's my biggest blocker. It's not my channel if it gets terminated. I don't care.
So dark. It's so dark. And on that note, I'm just going to have a tea cake. Carry on.
Thank you for updating. Thank you for the
how
update.
we do it. It's like don't watch us playing Star Citizen. Don't back the game. Just like I should cover up the battle.
No, the biggest. I would say the biggest. I was going to say this has been the biggest blockade for me, which I've just rectified, which is the brand new Samsung SSD drive. M2.
Yeah. World of difference.
That's been my biggest blockade in terms of. Actually, how do you guys feel about the advertisement they did for the Intel? Because they were just showing how good. It was a development panel. If anyone's not seen it,
watched it. I didn't watch
it. They got more downvotes than they got upvotes on YouTube. Even people.
Hell, I'll check right now.
He
got 700 upvotes and 290 downvotes or something. The most I've seen in terms of people just like what? But it's if you watch it, it's just them basically talking about how it will work. It works for Star Citizen and it will work for other games. I'm like, why are they even posting? I didn't understand why they were posting that even on their YouTube channel.
It's probably part of the agreement with EA.
Probably Intel agreement.
It's probably their agreement. And
they have to advertise for Intel because they got a whole bunch of free Optanes.
Because they got free shit with them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So back to the question for this person.
The blockade.
The blockade.
Especially now, it's probably the network. Well, we've discussed it earlier, and I do think that's probably causing them a big headache getting the network.
It's core tech. The network is their core tech. If without networking working, you don't have the game.
Yeah, if you actually go into Star Citizen and you spend enough time playing the game, you start to notice desync starts just screwing everything up. In Star Marine, you throw a grenade and the grenade explodes behind a wall behind you somewhere. Like the hell is that? What the hell is that all about?
After a couple of
how I throw grenades. But,
after about 30 minutes of in game, if you try to do like the mercenary missions around Yella, you'll run into invisible asteroids because they're desynced. Like you just right in the middle of an invisible asteroid you didn't see because it wasn't there on your screen, but it was there according to the server. So,
yeah. So
this is my
opinion. That's their biggest blocker.
Biggest blocker. Sorry, I'm going to go back to this is officially from CIG Madness for Tech.
CIG Madness.
Common sense is their biggest blocker.
Oh, hold on, because there were a couple kappas into
lack of common sense. Because I swear to God, that is one of the biggest things that we talk about. I swear, it's just pure. Take a moment, take a thought, take a process, maybe have a smoke and a pancake, and then just think about what you're just about to do before you actually do it. And I think they would avoid a shit ton of problems.
Well,
honestly,
I also think that for the longest time it felt like CIG was very top heavy, where they had to run every decision, everything by Chris Roberts. And you don't run a game like that. I've been on, you don't run anything like that. I've done production in theater where the director's important and the director makes the final decision, but the director doesn't need to know what if you have to change one prop for another because this one's broken or because they made a better one. The director will see that in the rehearsals when they go through that and say, that's I don't like that. Let's change that. You don't need to make sure the director knows that the torch changed a little bit. Yeah.
It's like having trust in your developers to do your vision and without having to ask every feature they do.
And you have the guys who built the Cry engine. These are people who made the first Crysis. These are people who possibly even made the first Far Cry. These are people, and as much as anyone wants to shit on Crysis, Crysis was a very good game. For Crysis 1, Crysis 2, I haven't played Crysis 3, but I know those first two were very good for their time.
Yeah.
Not perfect, of course, but they were really good. And more than just the technology, in terms of fun, they were pretty fun. And they had a lot of unique aspects, and the storytelling they did was pretty good. And it's obvious because every time something from CIG Frankfurt comes out, it's always fantastic. And it's because they let them run. You know, like without letting CIG Frankfurt do what they want to do, we wouldn't have Planetary Attack. Like
they just had a competition,
right?
They had that.
Well, they did it without Chris Roberts knowing about it. They did it and then told Chris Roberts after it was done. They asked for forgiveness rather than permission.
For permission, yeah.
Which we talked about a long time ago. That's sometimes the best way to go. Just do something and then ask for forgiveness afterwards, because
and I think
with CIG is pretty mad.
And I think that was one of the biggest. I don't know if they're still doing that, but if that is, I think that's one of the biggest hurdles, is not putting enough trust in the teams that you built. You know,
well, buy these T-shirts now before they bring them down. We'll apologize later.
I actually watched an interview with some of the older devs, and I remember there was an interview still floating around YouTube of Richard Garriott talking about Chris Roberts back when the Wing Commander series, and he said that Chris Roberts was notorious for micromanaging, and he was one of those guys where it's my way or the highway. Like that pixel is going to be green or you're gone. And I think Chris Roberts may have kind of simmered down a little bit from that era. You know.
No, I've seen the videos. People making ships getting fired. I've seen those videos on YouTube.
Employment turnover.
I've seen those official videos. Moving on to the next question, which is from Never Gonna Give You Up. What a great name. In retrospective and having the ultimate option to choose, would you want the game to keep going on as an open or semi-open in development, or have it kept closed till major patches? So for me at the moment, I still consider it to be a semi-open game, because it's like Squadron 42. We don't really get to see everything, so I don't think it's
5 months, almost 6 months. Where the fuck is the roadmap?
Yeah, right. It's. I still think it's still kind of closed. I mean, like, they don't show us the finances. They don't, what they said.
They don't really need to show us the finances. I mean, I know
They said that the argument was, they said in their original clause that if they didn't hit a certain date on the original, like I think it was when they were originally going to release the game, they would allow backers to be able to see what they spent the money on. And lo and behold, as soon as it got close to the official date when information was going to be released, they changed it. So, that's my only. It's only because that's like official truth. Someone told me that and I checked it. It was true. I don't have to.
I still don't think like that. That's not something that us as gamers necessarily need to know. And one of the realities that I've always said about that is, if you want to see if they're in trouble, see if they're hiring. You don't hire new people, and people don't work for free. Like, and they're still hiring, so they're getting money from somewhere. Even if
I've said that for a long time. It's like every time they're advertising new jobs, do you think they would be doing that if they were struggling? It's like we've already seen they bring out 2 Razor variants, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, money, thank you." They're not. Yeah, don't worry.
It's more. It's more that point was just more in reference to the fact, is it open and closed? That's all. That's really all.
Yeah, no, it's definitely semi-open. There's definitely lots of things that are problems.
So should it still say semi? Or should it be closed?
The question was, do you think it should stay as it is?
Yeah. Or
openish, or do you think it would have been better as a closed thing?
Closed now.
And just the odd announcement, like, okay, I suppose like most development, like when you play like Tarkov and stuff, it's like when there's a big patch, you go, well, this is what we've got, rather than
that's usually
this
like
is what we're working on.
And my wife would say yes.
In a Kickstarter game or a crowdfunded early access game, usually you start to worry about the state of the game, the health of the developer when they go radio silent, when they stop talking to the community. That's usually the biggest last red flag you'll ever see. And then the update starts slowing down. That's another red flag, and then the game just stops. And it dies.
They've actually been speeding up communication and speeding up development.
Yeah,
and
like this roadmap thing was something we asked for a long time. Overall, I mean, it's annoying to kind of sit there and watch and wait every 5 minutes for what's coming. But I think overall that would be my opinion. I think keeping it as it was, keeping it open, I do think that was the right decision, or at least it's nice as a backer to see that they're working on stuff. It's to see what's being developed, even if we're not getting it, and the delays and everything else for certain things, or whether they promised it's coming out or not. I still think, like as Vertigo says, I think it's nice to see these roadmaps being updated because you know they're still working on it, rather than like I've got games that I've backed in early access and I've not heard anything from ages, and it's like, well, is it dead or isn't it? We don't even know because you're getting nothing from them. And I think that would be worse. And like, if they hadn't announced a game for years and then all of a sudden brought the Kickstarter out further down the line, perhaps. But I think from doing the Kickstarter thing, I definitely think it's better to be more open and hear more about it.
I don't think CIG would ever do it again. I don't think CIG would ever. No, I think the most they'll do is something like Harebrained Schemes, who did they did the original Kickstarter with some funds for Shadowrun, and then they did BattleTech. But they did BattleTech after they'd already developed the studio, and they're like, hey, we just need to prove that there's enough interest in the game that we can get our fundraisers back on, or like our publishers back on.
I mean, if they realized they were going to make as much money at the start, they may well have probably not decided to do open development. It's like you said, it's to them, it's probably more hassle.
The question becomes is like, have they made this much money because of open development or despite it? Like,
yeah, but then at the start they got a lot more backing than they ever planned to, and that was without. Well, I suppose that was with promise of open development, maybe, but.
I mean, the first three stretch goals, the second one you can ignore. The first one is regular community updates, and the second one is enhanced community updates. That was like the very start of the funding campaign.
I mean, the way I look at it is, it's like, I only invested the X amount of money that I've invested into the game because I can play the game. If I couldn't play the game, I would probably still sat here with just a starter pack. It's the truth of the fact.
Yeah, but that's not open
maybe a Nox.
That's just giving you an alpha.
That's just early access.
On.
Yeah, that's just early access.
Are you talking about that's early open development? Is more the case of the communication of what they're working on and how they're working on it, and all these ATVs and
having access to CIG developers in your stream chat while you're bashing them live.
Okay.
I mean, that's gonna show up.
Constant open access to just giving us the roadmap and things like that. Is that what you were talking about?
Not just the roadmap, but also the developers. Developers come down and post in Spectrum all the time. In fact, sometimes people get really upset because they have to roll back what certain developers. The developers talking about what developer posts something he read 20 minutes ago in a memo, and they're like, no, you were supposed to talk about that, and so they have to roll that back. They're like, no, refer to the FAQ we posted 2 years ago. That's what you need to read.
Maybe in that case, then maybe I wouldn't really care too much for open development, but more still for the.
It would make this podcast very difficult, though, man. Just saying,
make this...
like we'd be very fucked. Enough anyway. But
I'm going to say my wife would. Yeah. My wife would like it. She would be very delighted because there'll be no more podcasts. But she'd be like, "Yay!"
We'll just do extra D&D.
I think the question of itself is flawed. I think the question isn't, would you prefer open development or closed development? I think the question is, would you have preferred CIG go their original planned route, which was earn some money, get some financial backers, a publisher to help them publish the game, and then release the game in 2015, the way we saw 2.6.3.
There are plenty of old backers who are extremely bitter that they're not getting Wing Commander 5. Yeah, there are people who backed back in 2012, 2013 who just wanted another goddamn Wing Commander with a multiplayer component. That's all they wanted, and then just things just exploded, and now they have to wait.
Yeah,
they don't know how long they have to wait, but
that's I think that's the central question: is would you have preferred? Because the question is open to close. That's not the answer. The question should have been something more like I think the way that, from what I've gathered from the way that the question was asked. Is would you have preferred the game have released in 2015, a smaller but finished product, or would you prefer 2014, 2015, or would you prefer that it's now going to be released in like 2029? Full release, whatever.
That's what I first read it as, but I'm not sure if that's that or whether they're just saying so. Like some games, like say like a Ubisoft will work, or not Ubisoft, like some games that are being developed and you don't really hear anything about them until closer to the release. and then you get, oh, look, here's a release trailer, here's the trailer, and then you don't hear about them for another 6 months, and then it's going, oh, now here's some gameplay footage, and then another 6 months, then you see something. I think they were kind of meaning that. Would you have just like it to be more? It's just being worked on, and every now and again you get a news article saying, well, this is how far we've got now. I think that's kind of more what they're saying, rather than this waiting.
Yeah. Most games are like that nowadays, though, aren't they? With this constant rise now of early access and just this kind of sharing of information. Like I said, like Beyond Good and Evil from Ubisoft, they do the same. They've got the web page open now. Where they've,
but then how much information are they giving?
Ask for tutorial. Well, if you go on their web page, they ask us to comment on their latest designs. So they've got drawings of all their different concept ships. They've got, what do you want to see next? What's the most important thing for you guys? Do you find it more important to have this type of ship or this type of ship or this type of ship? You can sign up to the newsletter. All this kind of stuff.
Less updates though. They're not like telling you every week where they are.
Going back to the question, I kind of agree that we're semi-open developed because I still consider Squadron 42 part of Star Citizen. So the fact that we don't have a roadmap for Squadron 42 means we're in semi-open development, and therefore I would like CIG to be more open about that. So can we continue going on the way we want? I'll be happy. Sure, why not? I'd be perfectly happy not to hear anything about Squadron 42 until it's 6 months from release. What we have for Star Citizen right now, I'm somewhat satisfied with. Of course, there's stuff that upsets me, but answering the question, there's my answer.
Yeah, my issue is always trust. The fact that they promised the roadmap 6 months to be released 6 months ago, and they promised it in October that they were going to release it 6 months ago, and the fact that devs have gone on record with community members, like hearing about that. Oh, they're still working on the Squadron 42 roadmap from Aaron from BritizenCon when he was talking to Board Gamer of all people. Is like, not everybody watches Board Gamer. Like, I love Board. Board is amazing, and he's probably one of the biggest YouTubers that's focused on Star Citizen, if not the biggest YouTuber who focuses on Star Citizen. He has like 100,000+ subscribers. There are 2 million, even if you want to be conservative, 100 or 1.5, 1.3 million people who have backed Star Citizen. Not all of them are going to watch Board Gamer and find out about this. Yeah, and that shouldn't be how you release your information, anyways. And even then, that's it's being worked on. But still, it's still 6 months since it's been released. Like, at a certain point, you got to start questioning CIGs. Can they deliver anything? Because they'll promise you shit and then lie about it. And that's what they've been doing.
I think especially when Squadron 42 is concerned, it's like the vertical slice. We have all been there and seen that, like the whole where it was almost released until the day before, and they decided not to show it that 1 year. And then, you're talking like we waited a year again before we even saw it more. It's like, well, I suppose that's the problem. It's like as Paul says, I think it's like the trust. It's like they say it, we're this close to releasing it, and then all of a sudden you hear nothing for a year. It's like, well, now we're worried because now we're thinking, are you even close to releasing it or not? Because it doesn't seem like it. And
it lets people like me go, Squadron 42 is not coming out until 2020. Why? Because we have no evidence. Last thing we saw was vertical slice, and it looked like 3.0. Like that's the vertical slice looked like 3.0. That's all it did. It looked like mostly 3.0 with some acting.
Acting.
Well, I mean, like because you saw the. I mean, I'm not going to. The latest ATV, they showed us some of the people talking, the NPCs and stuff talking to us, and I was. I like. And they were all miserable. I was like, wow, they're going to fit in with
real life.
They were normal. What you on about?
Like, if you walked into a shop where you order everything from Amazon.
No, it's. But I was going to say it depends. Well, no, it depends which type of shop you go into. Do you know what I mean? When I'm in Amsterdam, everybody's happy. So they need to make sure that they have like a particular type of store clerk who's happy to combat.
What if you walk into a Sununder shoe shop by mistake, and that's your thing? Now I'm confused. Everybody in the podcast.
I know what you said, but you continue to mispronounce it. It's Tsundere.
Tsundere.
Yes.
Tsundere.
Yes. Where you get where it's not like I like you or anything, but
the girl is perpetually upset with you, but she secretly has a crush on you. That's the genre.
Wow.
You know what? I agree with that.
We'll talk about it later.
Everyone is angry and I don't know why everyone's angry. Like, and then also how much they flip on the, like, I'll be in there like, hey, welcome to the shop. We got some new things. You should go check it out.
Fucking buy something.
Yeah, fucking buy something. Like after I bought like an armor, like a machine gun, and like 14 magazines of ammo. It's like fucking buy something. I'm like.
Wow.
Fuck you,
dude.
Like,
yeah.
The fucking universe. Store, you know?
Literally,
wait for those armistice zones to come down.
Yeah, I know, right?
Can't wait.
Literally, Terminator moment right there.
I need a plasma rifle in the 14 gigawatt range. Sorry, buddy, just what you see.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can't do that. You can't take these live shells and load your machine gun
Shotgun,
right in front
I know,
of
right?
you. Shotgun. Like what? Anyway, that's a topic for another day. And next question asks, how is the baby poop? The baby poop is, if you want to know details, kind of browny color with slightly kind of little white little bits in it and stuff. It's very fluid. He's just drinking milk, so it's liquid, and I tell you, it is bad. Whew.
Why?
It is bad.
Why would you? Why would you? That's what we call oversharing where I'm from. Just a little too much.
And there's no such thing as
TMI,
oversharing where I come from. But yeah, it's more the smile that comes after. That's when I know he's a happy little boy.
I know, right?
You
pat him on the back. You hear him loud farting noise.
And he farts, and he's like,
and he starts giggling.
Yeah,
it feels good.
Trying to eat it. Look. Oh god!
Just smiles at you and it's stinking.
Like I said, he literally the first change I did. He just thought it would be fun to hose down. Initiation, hose his father down. I was like, his mum had changed him 3 or 4 times, no problems. The minute his father changed him, yeah,
listen, he just thought you were too hot.
God.
He needed to cool you off. That's all.
Oh my god!
It's like you need more salt. Hang on.
I know, right?
Wait until he's in his 15 when he's 15. Then have him watch this video.
Yeah, stream that.
I thought you were going to say when he's 15, you still do it. It's just done.
All right, it's been a fantastic show, and I'd love to carry on with everybody here in chat and just keep going on because this is how it rolls here. It's always a great vibe. We will be here obviously next Monday again to do this again. Am
I going to be here next Monday?
Yes, you will.
I'm not sure if I am actually. Am I next week?
One of us.
So yeah, if you could let us know what you guys are up to next week, and yeah, if you are going to be here next week or not, but just let us know where we can.
Are we finally getting around to the introductions? Right, the
end of the introduction.
What are you playing this week?
Yes, what are you playing this week?
So,
I just finished the podcast.
Okay, that was the beginning. This is the beginning.
I don't remember.
Oh my god!
This week.
I do have a small little thing. What's going on this week for me?
Go on, Astro. Go, Astro. You start us. Kick us off.
It is my 5th wedding anniversary this Friday. So as a result, yes, claps for Cam because she's put up with me for 10 years.
That's horseshit.
5 of which is my wife, and Jesus Christ, it's like. A woman is sainthood at this point. Putting up with this bullshit all the time is and anyone who's married to a streamer can tell you it's difficult.
I think mine's considering not being married to a streamer.
But so as a result, I'm taking the week off. Like the last stream I'm gonna have this week is Wednesday. And I won't be back until the next Wednesday, so I'm taking that week off to just enjoy myself, and I'll be probably doing some other stuff like updating, like putting up some videos and that kind of stuff. But mostly I'm just taking the time off. So
good. Time off is good. That's for sure. Take that time off, rest. And we can get you on the AstroPub as always. And
Twitch.tv/TheAstroPub. And the AstroPub on YouTube and the AstroPub on Twitter, and we're also doing a Gleam giveaway still for this month. Instead of doing like everyone does Gleam giveaways, but instead of doing like what I've been doing, which is like at the end of the month, just do a giveaway. Gleam's worked really well, so I've been doing. They do. And I'm doing a giveaway a Titan. So
nice.
And don't forget to go and watch his historical.
Yes. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Bearing, last week's Bearing video, where we talked all about Bearing, is going to be on is going to be on YouTube on Wednesday, and then sometime today, I think I'm going to have the latest Captain's Table updated. So, yeah, Galactic Historian, talk all about the lore in Star Citizen. So, if you guys want to learn more in a way that is condensed to you, so you can understand it, rather than having to pull things from like 15 different sources, the way the CIG releases their lore, you know, check it out.
Good stuff. And then Vertigo. What are you up to the rest of this week besides destroying ships in your Aurora?
Destroying people like Toontown, Karaya, letting people know that maybe their $150 plus purchase wasn't a great idea in the persistent universe.
Can I just say on the $150, just to sorry to interrupt you, you can buy God of War.
Here it goes.
You can buy Divinity Sin. You could buy, I don't know, a list of other games. You could get Assassin's Creed, the latest
GTA
one,
5 for like
and
the
GTA
Stellaris.
Stellaris, all for the same amount of
money. As a razor.
As
in the Misc Razors.
So you just say that every time you blow someone up in a saber.
That could have been.
You could have spent something else.
Yeah, I could. Hey, now I have something to send that guy that I killed. Like, hey, here's all the stuff you could have bought instead of getting, annihilated.
Getting owned by a $45 ship.
Oh, just might as well, I should just put put a cigarette out in his eye. I should just go find him in real life and just.
Anyway, sorry, I
just put it out in his eye.
I had to say that on that. I had to say that. Carry on.
I know. So we just finished off Metro Last Light Redux last night. Metro Last Light last night. Say that 5 times fast. That was great. Loved it. It's crazy. We're looking to move on to a new project. I haven't decided if we're going to start, actually seriously start Wing Commander 4, The Price of Freedom tonight, but we're looking to start that this week and go, like I said, go back to the old Chris Roberts game so everybody kind of knows where the thought process behind the man that's the head of the company and kind of like what he likes to see in his video games and kind of like
did he do 4? I thought he didn't do 4. Which one did he do?
4.
Was it 5? Was it 5 he didn't do?
It was 5 he didn't do. Prophecy.
Is that Prophecy? That's the only one I ever played. I enjoyed it. That sums it up. It's the worst one. It's the worst one.
I would say you can see the progression of Chris Roberts, the video game maker, to Chris Roberts, the wannabe filmmaker, from Wing Commander 1 through Wing Commander 4. Like 4
was great for
50%. 50% cutscenes, 50% gameplay. Which is not my kind of game, but
Yeah. So that's it. Star Citizen this week. Wing Commander 4 starting that. Trying to finish off the Wing Commander series. So we got Wing Commander 4 and then Wing Commander Prophecy right after that, and then this Covert Ops for Prophecy, and then after that, we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do after that. Probably something science fiction, maybe, possibly.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So we can find you on HCVertigo Twitch, as always.
Twitch,
and your
HCVertigo.
name.
Not really active on YouTube.
Sorted. No, not yet.
Have you not put it on your bot?
I haven't put it on my bot. I know. I've been away with a baby.
Hashtag professional streamer.
Excuses. It's like a baby excuse for.
Where's Brunson? Brunson's getting an internet upgrade. I can't believe it. He's just like he's getting the mod of all mods. He's getting an internet upgrade. He's to save my day, but he's not here to save it. Never mind. I got prisoners in here. He could do it. Go on, prisoner. Go with your sword. Go at it with your sword.
Sword. Swing it.
He'll just chop me down. Sorry. Anyway, yeah. So we can. I will do it.
Okay.
So miserable. What are you doing? Where can we find you? What you been up to? It's time. Hurry up.
This time, I'm doing Paint Platinum Roll on Wednesday evenings, which is me painting D&D models or Star Citizen models or whatever comes in front of me, and then we just chat about stuff. Just anything you want to talk about, we'll talk about it, and it's just nice, relaxed, bit like this, but just random topics, whatever we talk about. And then on Friday is the D&D session. We missed last Friday, unfortunately, because quite a few people are away, but we aim to carry on this Friday. So yeah, some D&D on Friday on my channel. Other than that, I don't know. Sporadic at the moment until I sort shit out.
Yeah.
Oh, and go and follow us on the Asylum YouTube channel. It's probably maybe on his bot. If he hasn't even got his bot, don't bother. But it's I think it's YouTube/Asylum F. Oh, you have got your bot on there. There you go. FWG. Nice. Go and follow us on there. You can catch up on their D&D sessions. You can catch up on any past podcast.
Yeah.
And hopefully some more stuff will be coming one day.
Like
Yes.
and subscribe and comment.
Like
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Ring that bell. Make sure you set notifications all the time, and make sure to hit that Patreon up. Really does help us out. Or
Yeah.
me, well, somebody.
Have you heard? And now we're going to start top for a sponsor. Dollar Shave
Intel.
Club and Audio and Audible
and
what
Full Sail University, and Intel Optane and
Great
Ryzen.
Courses Plus.
Great Courses Plus.
I'm just trying to think about rattling off all of the really terrible products that are sold.
Oh, what was that one?
I'm sorry, I'm ruining your chances of getting sponsors, but all the terrible products sold by every YouTuber that nobody.
What was that one that what was that one that wrote the papers for you for your university? Like, yeah, let's put that in there too.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
Right, I'm going to end this shenanigans before it goes any
end
too
it.
far. Thank you, everyone. And who should we host before we go over to
Man,
who
he's
should
up to
we host?
nothing. He's babysitting all week.
I mean, hell, you
Yeah,
can host me.
I will be jumping in other people's when I can, but I'm going to be just doing this, sorting out my PC, basically getting it upgraded so I can get into Star Citizen a lot faster.
you probably
This
won't
is
see
going to
that
be
Monday.
free. Shut up. This is going to take me. I'm already petrified because I now have to move everything from my HDD drive, which is over 1 terabyte. So I'm going to have to back everything up, move things around, and then I have to migrate
Why
or
don't you
do a
have
complete
both?
rebuild.
You don't need everything on the SSD.
I want to put as much. I just want to put everything on the SS3 game wise, and just use my other one for all my work. My work is what takes up most of my hard drive space. And the other great thing is I originally, if anyone watched my Twitter, you'll know that I was buying a drawing tablet because I really want to do. I want to go completely from drawing because I've got a Wacom tablet at the moment, but I want one to draw on screen. So it's a full screen, 22-inch screen that I literally draw straight onto. And some fantastic person sent me a message to say, hey, you're buying the old one. There's a brand new one coming. And so I cancelled the order and I'm getting the latest one in June. It's available in the UK. So end of June, I'm going to get the latest one. So
Nice.
I can't do it. I can't fortunately do it right now, but I will be getting it soon. So
Apparently,
I'll do more drawing.
Who you should be hosting is HCVertigo because I just got a notification that HCVertigo is live. So
is it awesome?
yeah,
Cool.
Make it easy for you.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, do we want more Vertigo today?
Well, who else is
want
on?
Vertigo any day?
I was gonna say the other people I can think is Moonshiners is streaming.
We hosted him last time, I think, or the one before that. Who else is there?
And then the few.
He'll get most of the slot anyway. He doesn't need it.
Yeah. I want to feed the big beasts.
Yeah, I want to feed the smaller people. That's what we always like to do. But there tends to be less people these days.
Yeah.
It's really hard to
Polysapiens
find.
playing.
I
Good.
suppose it's going to have to be that Vertigo bloke then, I suppose.
Yeah, I think looks like it, right? Tough.
If we
It's a
have
tough
to.
world. If we have to.
Yeah.
Where is he?
Actually, that's it. Oh, there it is. It's the one with the tartan.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well,
All
all
over
right,
it.
guys.
Yep.
Let's do that. This raid Vertigo this week.
There you go.
Right up
My
until the
weekly
point where he
raid
gets.
in.
We'll raid him and then he'll betray us and go off to Space Bros at some point. So he'll build him up just straight out now.
You're so fucking negative. Look at you.
Oh, he is. No wonder they run off. No
They all
wonder
run
they
off.
Fucking ray of sunshine.
I just say it as it is,
Don't
man.
chip on
I'm
his
just saying
shoulder
it
at all,
is.
man. At all.
No, not at all. Good one. Have fun.
Good one. I will.
This is- we
Thanks
just-
everybody
we-
for joining us.
just-
I very
Yep.
much appreciate it. Remember to tune in next Monday for the Asylum podcast. Otherwise, take care, have a good night, and thank you all for your support. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
And follow these guys. Follow these guys. They're awesome. Why
Follow.
aren't you following? Fucking follow them now. Do it.
All right. I'm out.
There we
I
go.
need my camera back.
All right, buddy.
There we go.
Cheers, HC, man. Awesome.
That back.
Good stuff. I think
Over
we're in
my
your
channel. All right. Have a good one.
All
All right, pal. Have a good stream.
Good strums. Ugh.
You're welcome. I'm brutal. I have no filter. Everyone knows this about me. I have no